There we go. My bad. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I am Justin George. I am running the board today because George had to be pulled away. So apologies in advance for all of the technical difficulties that are going to happen without fail. Actually, a lot of failing. Second thing I'd like to apologize in advance for, we are sleep training my daughter, and she is in the room next door. She is going to probably start yelling within the next 10 to 15 minutes as soon as Tara puts her down and walks out of the room. So that is the fun joys of being a parent. We've been sleep training because she relies on us to go to bed a little too much. We got into a bad habit of holding her, and that's the only way she can go to bed. So we literally would have to sit in there with her for whether it took 10 minutes, whether it took an hour, whether it took 2 hours, we would just hold her. And we would pat her butt and we'd rock her in a rocking chair. And then finally we'd put her down after she was asleep. If she woke up by chance, she would instantly just start yelling, and it was a whole thing. So she's really bad at going to bed by herself. So we are sleep training her right now. And literally Tara's going to be putting her down here in a second, and she is going to be screaming. So can't wait for that. Hopefully I can see everybody's comments. I'm running the board today for George. I haven't done this in quite some time, and it's very different. StreamYard has changed their look. So I am trying to roll with the punches, as you could see from the very beginning, where first off, when George is away, the boys will play. I switched up the intro to, I love what George does. Trust me, George puts a lot of work into everything that he does for us, and I really like his intro. However, I love the horror looking one. I know it has nothing to do with sports, but that's why I love it, because we're incorporating this to be, obviously it's a sports show. It's called Talking About Balls. First and foremost, it's going to be the number one thing. But at the end of the day, we're people. We're humans. We have lives. We talk about a little bit of everything. That's why we do the BS segment. That's why, we do adjust the tip at the end. Not everything is sports related. We do have lives. We have other interests. And I love horror. So I love that intro. I love playing it. If you guys can bear with me, I'm going to share the show for a minute. Kyle's going to be joining us. I forgot to mention that off the top. Kyle is going to be here. He just texted me and said he's running a little late with some work stuff. So he said, start the show. He'll jump in. So as soon as I see him pop up in the little dash down there, I will add him. Hopefully it works, and we'll go from there. So if you see the name Kyle, this is not a memorial page. We're not mourning him. He's not dead yet. But we're doing the show. So again, I'm going to share it really quick on social media. If you can just bear with me, because it's tough to do both, because I can't concentrate on typing and talking at the same time. I'm going to end up saying a word that doesn't make sense in a sentence. But I did name this episode the Pickett Line because, of course, the Browns news. So we'll get to that. Plenty to talk about. I have a lot of shit to talk about. NFL free agency happened. Myles Garrett has made a decision on his Browns future, which, I mean, again, if you're watching this, you guys already know what happened. Comments. Let's see the comments. Sorry, I always got to remember to click. Good evening, Steve. Good talking to you today, my friend. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, so I am solo right now. I am running the board. George has it all set up, though, pretty perfectly. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Again, I didn't even know I had to click my own picture to get myself on there, so the show started off with nobody. But we're going to talk about NFL free agency. We're going to talk about some of the trades that have happened in the NFL. We're going to talk about the Browns specifically. I'm going to talk about some issues I took with George, the producer. His show on Monday night, he does his show Dueling Aces with his friends. This week he had Bruiser and Zolt on. And truthfully, I mean this sincerely. I know when I was on Redline, I used to talk mad shit just to get a rise out of people. And I don't mean this in like a talking shit way. Some of the worst Browns takes I've ever heard happened on Dueling Aces on Monday night, to the point where I was jumping in the shower and I ran out of the bathroom, threw a shirt on really quick, and I sat at my computer and I logged in. I was going to try to get on here, and I was texting Kyle the whole time. I'm like, dude, it's unbelievable how bad these takes are. I'm like, I have to jump on. George always gives me an open invitation to his show. It's always, he starts it like right when I have my free time of the night. So Teddy's bedtime is at 7:30-ish. But again, we were rocking her to sleep. So sometimes I wouldn't get out of the room until like 8:30 at the earliest. And so then by the time I'd get out from her going to sleep, I could finally go take a shower. I could then go, eat dinner, clean, do some shit. Like that was my free time. So I'd never been able to jump on with the Dueling Aces guys, but I could listen to it in the background and like chat and all that shit. And Monday night, I'm in the bathroom. I'm getting ready to take a shower, and they're talking about the Browns, and they're talking about the Kenny Pickett trade because it just happened that day. They're talking about a bunch of stuff. Here's Kyle. Let me get him in here. There he is. What's up, dude? Cannot hear you.
What's going on, man?
There we go. Getting a little louder.
Wow, it's like delayed.
Yeah, you're a little delayed. Interesting. I can hear you, though.
Am I frozen?
No, I can see you. Everything's looking good from my end. But again, I think I have the stream because I'm hosting. I don't know if that's a different stream than everybody else is getting. I guess we'll check comments. If you're watching out there in the comments, is Kyle frozen by chance? Is anybody frozen? Is it chunking at all? I can't tell.
I don't know. Let me take a look on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sharing it right now. We are live with the Pickett Line now. But back to my story really quickly. George does the show Dueling Aces on Monday nights, and it was truly some of the worst Browns takes I'd ever heard. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to dissect those bad takes. I was this close to jumping on the show. Again, turned on my computer, logged into StreamYard, I had to wait because I need what's it called? All good for Steve. Okay, cool. I was going to message George because he didn't send me the link. He usually sends me the link to jump on the show, and he didn't. So I was about to message him and be like, hey, man, can I get on? And as soon as I got my computer up, I got everything ready. Him and his co-host, they started talking about hockey and Alex Ovechkin about to break the scoring record or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to jump in now and bring the show back and derail it. They're moving on to another topic. George insisted I should have done that, but I respect show structure too much to do that. And I listen to too much talk radio that even I get annoyed if I'm listening to Rover and they talk about something at like the 7:30 mark of the show, and then someone calls in at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or something like that. And they're like, hey, earlier when you were talking about this and that, and I'm like, come on, they fucking moved on. Let's keep it rolling. So I didn't do that to George, but I really wanted to. But welcome, Kyle. Did a little long intro. I had some technical difficulties on my end when I started the show, more so because I forgot to click my own picture. I did switch it to the intro that Dave created for us, because George is gone. When the guards away, the inmates will play. So made some executive decisions.
I like it.
That will be funny. Hopefully George doesn't catch it next week because I put it in there as our permanent intro. So if he's not paying attention, he might just click start show and it's going to be the one that goes on. He's going to be like, what the hell?
No, I think George strikes me as an anal guy who checks everything 3 times.
He'll be on here to make sure I didn't fuck anything up probably before he even goes to bed tonight, if I had to guess. And I respect that. I do respect that. Yes, let me just get this posted.
Work difficulties, had some a very busy day, and it's going to be busier once I get off this thing too. So work never ends, and I'm in Columbus this week. So
I was going to ask. It doesn't look like your normal office. I was going to ask.
No, got the. There's a cut chair.
The cut chair. There it is, Steve.
We also got the like a cut bench there, like where people can watch, and then you got with the light over the top there, so we're good. Everything.
Kyle got the eyes wide shut special room. I like that. Very cool.
It's great. It's a nice hotel here, but no, just a lot of stuff going on down here tomorrow. Yeah, it's just been a busy week so far, but it is what it is. All part of sales. Sales aren't going as fast as people want them to, so everyone's stressing out, and it's what we live in. So I miss anything good, or are you just talking about your ability to hold back and not rip people a new one, I guess is the word.
Yeah, I was pretty much just going over the show for the day and what topics we're going to be covering, and that was pretty much it. So, cuck chair of the day, Kyle wins.
I'm waiting for this Kirk Cousins news to break here today. I feel it's coming. I know the whatchamacallit, they're going to hold on to him until Sunday at least, but I think he might be sliding our way.
Well, there were some other interesting rumors that we'll talk about that are connecting the Browns to a different quarterback.
I saw he's coming to town tomorrow, it looks like.
Flying in tonight to meet with the Browns tomorrow. We'll get into all that. Another former Super Bowl champion quarterback that may or may not have played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sensing a trend on what the Browns are going after. Funny to me that all of their Super Bowl success has been coming from elsewhere, not in Pittsburgh, clearly. But we'll talk about all that. But yeah, let's get into the BS segment. It has been 2 weeks since we have done a show because, again, it's the off season. We're doing bi-weekly now. And we're here. Honestly, for me, Really not a whole lot going on. We did the show 2 weeks ago. I was recovering from my sickness still. And then I don't think I did anything that weekend. We just chilled, maybe hung out with some people. Oh, no, we had Teddy's birthday. We had Teddy's first birthday party at the house. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. So I agree, Steve. We'll get into that. That seems like an interesting combination. But, maybe if there's any coach I trust with any quarterback, truthfully, I'll never judge, is Kevin Stefanski. Aside from Deshaun Watson, he's basically had success with every quarterback and DTR, but I think that's more of a DTR problem than it is a Kevin Stefanski issue. But he did manage to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers with DTR, who I would consider, and not knocking the kid at all, he was fun. I wanted him to succeed. Probably the worst Browns quarterback I may have ever seen in Browns history was DTR. He's up there. And we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers with him. So to me, that says a lot. But we'll get into all that and more. No, you're good, Steve. My issue is I have to click a different tab to see the comments because I have to click on the board. So I'm currently on a page that's called Media Assets, and that shows me all the different backgrounds and shit that I can do. Comments are at the top, but it's just a notification. It doesn't show me the comment. I have to click it and get to the tab, and I didn't pay attention that it showed that there was a comment, so that's not bad.
You need multiple monitors, in front of you.
I really do. This is a full fucking thing. I need like the Iron Man rig. I need a setup. If I could just touch screen everything, that would be pretty badass.
So how did the birthday party go? Looks like it went off without a hitch.
Yeah, it went well. We kept it small, and I know a lot of people when they do, like, we had a lot of friends who had kids within the same time as us, within just a few months, and they all had their birthday parties. They did like friends, family. They invited everybody and their brother. But they kind of got lucky because our friend Joe and Grace, they have their basement's much bigger and more equipped to host. So they had pretty much just friends and family over. They had, or pretty much just friends, I should say. They had some family members, but for the most part, they just had friends over for their daughter's first birthday party. And it wasn't a lot of people, but also they don't have a ton of family in town or anything like that. So they invited us to theirs. And then our friends Josh and Maria, their son's first birthday, he was born in October, so they had his party in October, and it was a fucking beautiful day. They had people inside, outside. It was awesome. Teddy being born in February, freezing cold outside, snow. Our options are pretty limited. Yes, we have a really cool yard, but we can't utilize it with Teddy or with her birthday because it's in February. So we had just decided we did immediate family only. So it was just parents, siblings, their kids, and Tara's grandparents. Or grandmas. That was it. That was literally all we had over. Kept it small. It still felt really crowded in my house, and that just shows you how many people there are. So I'm really glad we didn't do it because I felt bad because Tara's like, well, should we invite so-and-so? Like, she's like, should we invite Joe and Grace? And I was like, we can, but I'm like, then we have to invite Josh and Maria because they invited us to their party. Like, I feel I like to do things fair. So I'm like, if we do that, then we have to invite them. Then we have to invite them. Then next thing you know, she's like, should I invite Lorene and Josh? And I'm like, same thing. Then we have to invite more people. Like, it's just going to keep adding up. And I was like, I think our list is good. And I'm happy we did it that way because like I said, there were a fuck ton of people in my house. And then the night before her party, actually, we did axe throwing, which was fun. We went out with Josh and Lorene. Too many Joshes in my life. Lorene's boyfriend's name is Josh also. So we went out with Lorene and Josh to Timber Beast, it's called, in Medina, and it's an indoor axe throwing thing. It was really cool. Had a really good time. They gave us a bunch of axes. They gave us hatchets. They gave us ninja stars. It was fun. We had a good time. They had a bar.
How's the ninja stars? Do you feel
actually fun as fuck? You pretty much can't screw them up. So I'm not trying to brag, but I ended up winning every game we played. We did because basically you treat it like
a brag. Sounds like a brag.
Well, it was just funny to me because Lorene's boyfriend was really competitive, and I could tell he really wanted to beat me. And then the first game, like, he was really pumped about his score. And then we looked at it, and I think I won like 33-29 or something like that. And like when we counted it all up, he's like, hell yeah, how'd I do? I'm like, oh, you got 29. He's like, oh, hell yeah. And he looked and he's like, oh, 33. Like, you could see like he was kind of defeated. And then we did a round with ninja stars. I won that one as well. And then we did another one with the axes, and we tied. So we get to the end, and I'm just thinking, like, whatever. I didn't care. I was like, we're just doing this for fun. So we tied. I'm like, all right, cool. We both tied. I'm like, let's erase it, start the next game. He's like, no, tiebreaker. I'm like, okay. He's like, throw off. We each get one throw, tiebreaker. He throws it just below the bullseye circle. He gets like 4 points. I fucking nailed it dead on. I'm like, 6. I guess I won again. So
Where did the match someone? Jeez.
I didn't mean to. I literally would go up there. I've done axe throwing twice now. The first time I did it, I was trying everything. I couldn't get the fucking thing to stick. It was crazy. I was taking it, like, I'd do the two hands, I'd throw it, and it would like hit and then fall to the ground. Yeah. And I'm, dude, what the fuck am I doing wrong? So they gave me a different axe. I'm trying different throwing angles. So this time I'm going into it literally thinking like, this is going to suck. I'm not going to have fun. I didn't enjoy it last time. And I go in and I did all one hand throws. I took the axe, because it's not a huge axe. It's like, right, a hand size one. And I just went in, one arm, and I literally that's it. Like I'm doing the tomahawk chop. And I was dominating. I was killing it. I had really good aim. And I won every game. So had a good time.
Amazing. I love it. I haven't done axe throwing in a while. I think the last time I did axe throwing was at some kind of fair where you get up on like the back of a trailer and they have like a whole like axe thing set up. And it took me like 3 or 4 throws to kind of like get the rotation down and like where you should be holding like your wrist and how you should be releasing it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this seems like it's more work than it's worth, but no, it's fun. It's absolutely fun. But I'd love to do the Ninja Star one. That'd be really cool. Get all like,
yeah, I wasn't expecting that. So we just showed up and the guy takes us out and he's like, has anyone done axe throwing before? And Tara and I were like, yeah. And he's like, all right. And then Lorene and Josh hadn't. So he's like, all right, I got to explain to you guys how to do it really quick. He's like, it's only going to take me a couple minutes. And then I want all you guys to throw it once and then I'll leave you to it. So he did all that. And then he's like, oh, and by the way, boom. And he drops these fucking Ninja Stars in the box. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. That's so cool.
That's amazing. That's so cool. How much, was it pricey? Was it cheap? What was it? How much was it?
I want to say it was like $50 a couple, and we had it for an hour. And because there were 4 of us, it honestly we were going really fast. Like I think we ended up playing 4 total games on top of just fucking around throwing stuff for fun. So again, each game it was basically like it's set up like bowling. Like there's 10 frames. But you throw it at the board and it's like darts. It's circled. They have everything circled. You just go up there and you look and you're like, okay, I got 3 points, 4 points, whatever. It was really quick. We would just go up there.
Did it auto score for you or no?
No, you have to write it down. They gave you a paper, a laminated paper and a wipeable marker, and you just keep the score. And it was really cool. Something different. Again, I went into it thinking like this is gonna suck. Last time I did axe throwing, I fucking sucked at it, and I did all right. And then we did that. We went out afterwards for my cousin's birthday. And then we went to Rivals for her birthday. And then we went home, got up. Teddy's birthday was the next day. And then that's pretty much it. Just worked. And then last weekend, didn't do shit. We had our niece Maya spent the night on Friday night. We watched a bunch of horror movies with her. Truthfully, my last 2 weeks, I've just been trying to watch the Oscar-nominated movies. That's kind of my thing. I like every year, once the nominees come out, I like to try to watch them all, but I don't need to get it done before the awards because, I have nothing to do with the awards. So I just like to watch them in general. So I've been ripping through every single one of them. I still have a handful to go. I will admit I tried to watch Conclave yesterday and I could not get into it. I had it playing while I was hanging out with Teddy because Tara was at work, and I realized next thing you know, I looked up and the credits were rolling and I'm like, what the fuck? That whole movie played and I did not pay attention to it at all. So I'm going to have to give it a second watch when I actually pay attention. But
I mean, none of the movies really looked that enticing to me. I mean, other than what I watched, the movie that you have as a tip tonight, I watched that one and that was it. I mean,
an Oscar, not even a Best Picture nomination, which is crazy to me.
I mean, just that movie was so good. Me and Jess watched it the other night. I went into it kind of like not knowing what it'd be, and just the way it started and the way it ended. And then, I mean, I thought he won awards rightfully for that movie. He did such a great job in that movie, and I can't wait for him to make more movies. Him winning the Oscar just means more opportunities now for him, and I'd love to see him and his brother do a movie together. I really would, just in the next couple years here. And those two,
I'm sure it'll be happening because we'll talk about it. But
sure.
Old Kevin McAllister's starting to get a little more fame and come back into the limelight, which is cool.
For sure.
So that was it for me. We had, like I said, my niece spent the night. We watched some horror movies, and then we've just been, cleaning up, straightening up the house, getting it ready, enjoying the nice weather. We had daylight savings time. The weather broke a little bit. We had some nice weather, so I've been taking Teddy on walks, finding new walking trails in the metro parks and going and doing that shit. That's pretty much it.
I'm so happy that this weather's finally warming up. I'm so over the cold. Just today,
I just hope it sticks around because I hate when we get this tease where we're gonna have 2 weeks of this weather, not even, and then we'll go to snowstorm. It's almost inevitable in
I
Cleveland,
was
but
walking outside today with I had a polo on and I had sunglasses going from like door to door. I was out with one of my managers down here just doing like cold calling. It was nice to just enjoy the weather and not have to worry about bundling up or running from your car to a building and vice versa. It was nice.
seeing you right now, your window, you have that beautiful sunshine coming in. It's like, it's crazy. I can't remember the last time we did a show at 7 p.m. and it was light out. So
I know, right?
it's
That's the
very
other
nice.
thing too. I'm like, is it really almost 7 to jump on the show? I'm used to being pitch black outside when I jump on here. So
That's why it caught me off guard. I'm like, where the hell's he at right now? I'm like, I'm not used to seeing that kind of light.
no, it's crazy. But no, my weekend was kind of low key. We Saturday morning we went to this place in me, Jory, Dave, and Jose went to this place in Westlake called Always Golf, and it's a new simulator that just opened. The golf simulator that just opened this year, and it's one of the only simulators in the area that have Augusta. So where they play the Masters at, and we golfed it, and it is a bitch. Like I believe I was in the trees far more than I wanted to be, but it was very difficult. But it was the first time actually swinging golf clubs in a while, so it was nice to get stretched out and kind of get into golf mode. And golf season's coming up around the corner here, so it was nice to get out there and kind of just hit the greens, I guess you could say. But after that, we met a couple friends up at Razzles. We had some like early dinner, some drinks, and played Silver Strike, the little bowling game up there, for a little while, and then went home. I mean, Sunday was kind of a chill, low key day. Just caught up on some shows, and it's been mostly work. I mean, it's been work, and then some stuff on the weekends. That's pretty much it. But no, that's pretty much it. No, nothing exciting for me.
Yeah, I know the feeling with the work stuff. I have my my yearly audit coming up next week, and I don't know. So far, I've had really no issues with them. I've done them now this will be my third one, I think.
Yeah.
I've really had no issues with them, but I get so fucking stressed out every year. I don't know why. It like drives me crazy. Like I lose sleep over it. I don't know why. It's gone swimmingly every time, but every year, like a couple weeks leading up to it, I just lay in bed thinking of like, all right, what did I not do? Like, what am I going to get busted? Like, I don't know. It just fucking drives me crazy. But
yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to I'm kind of looking to a weekend where I don't have anything going on. Like this weekend, we have so much things going on. Friday night, we have couples bowling. Saturday, we have plans with dinner with friends. We have Sunday, I have the MGA first event. We have in the morning, and then we're maybe going out afterwards to kind of like do like St. Patrick's Day, because I'm not going to be doing anything on Monday, St. Patrick's Day, actual day, which is sad. Then it's work next week. I'll be down in Cincy and Dayton and Kentucky next week, and then I'm hoping I don't think I'm going to get anything next weekend, the weekend after next, so I can just kind of sit around and do nothing. And I have to get my yard fucking cleaned up and fixed because the backyard's taking a beating from our dogs. There's certain spots in the backyard that are just bare. So I've been like researching, and they make this stuff. It's like a fabric that you unroll or you can cut to like fit a certain shape. So like you clear the area and you put this like it has like seed and everything in it like already, and you kind of can.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
It, and then you water it so it stays in. So I got to put that in certain patches in my backyard. I got to put like a little mini fence around it so they don't jump and run into it, and kind of get my backyard back to normal because they like to run. So there's certain areas like around corners where they dig in with their claws and are running around the corner. So the entire area is like a damn horse track right now that I have to like scrape up and redo, put new dirt down, put grass seed down. It's just, I'm like, our backyard's fucked. I'm like, okay, well, that's my project this year. And this spring, I kind of rightfully fixed.
That's like the one thing I'm thinking about with the weather being nicer. Like it's got me in the mood. I'm drinking a Bush Peach right now because I was like, it's kind of nice. It's got me summertime vibes. But then I keep thinking about the backyard and I'm like, when the weather gets nice, I have to cut my grass regularly. I am dreading that. It's such a big yard.
Are you going to do any kind of treatment to it? You got to put the bug stuff out there, the insect stuff, so you don't have any issues with that. The grubs, you got to put that treatment out there, and weed stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I hope it all dies. I'd be okay with that. It's less trouble for me, so I'm rooting against grass.
Take care of it a little bit,
I'll cut it. That's good enough.
Crabgrass and like clover back there, so
fine with me. Kill it. I'll go back there. I'll buy one of those fucking what are the Elon Musk flamethrowers. I'll just burn all the grass out. I don't care.
Just burn all your neighbors. Think you're just in the backyard burning your entire grass. That's great.
That's fine. They don't care. They're all chill. But I'm already cutting the grass. But I mean, I am happy for the weather.
We've got somebody who can help treat that yard.
Oh yeah, it's Steve. Steve's the yard man. Yeah, I gotta get used to treat that.
You gotta get out there and get the nutrients and get the food out there in the grass so it gets ahead of the weed stuff. Now's the time to do it. If not, you're gonna get bombarded with shit.
We'll see.
You don't care. I get it.
Yeah, I don't really care, to be honest.
Tell Tara to do it. She'll do it. I know she'll do it.
No, she won't actually. She never did it in Brick Park, so she's not doing it here.
Okay.
Just whatever grows is getting ran over by the riding mower. That's about it. That's all I care about. Yeah, actually this weekend I don't have really. I mean, Tara has a surprise planned for me for my birthday. It's Saturday, nice. But she won't tell me what. She just said that she knows where she's taking me or something like that. Normally, what we do for our birthdays is you pick, what restaurant do you want to go to, and the other person takes you there. And she claims she has one that she knows I'll like, and that's it. She won't tell me anything. So I was in my head. I'm like, I can't imagine she's planning a surprise party for me, because who the fuck has a surprise 36th birthday? Like, it's not like a big event. Like, it's not like 40 or something like that. It's my 36th. I don't know. I just find that, like, I don't feel like that's a surprise worthy.
It's a huge milestone, my friend. You made it past 35.
Really, it's kind of just it's a very forgettable birth year. So I am not expecting that. But yeah, she claims she has somewhere to take me, and that's about it. She asked me what I want for my birthday.
In a while that you like for dinner. Someone make a nice dinner somewhere.
I'm cool with that. I mean, I'm a low key dude. Like, I could go to. There's a couple bars I really like that I could just sit there and just drink some beer. Like the one I love going to Hoof and Ladder in North Olmsted. If I could just sit there for like 3 or 4 hours and just drink Mooseheads all night, fine with me. I am more than cool with that. I am super laid back with that.
She's gonna hit you with the shirt and tie requirement on Saturday morning, so you guys are going downtown to a nice fancy dinner.
I'll cancel. I hate dressing up. I would cancel my own birthday dinner.
That's right. I forgot your birthday is this Saturday, right? Yeah, 36.
Yeah, God. Big 36. Getting old.
You're old, man. You're getting old.
I know. I feel it.
Those old jokes can't fly much anymore now because you're starting to feel like
you'll always be older, so they can definitely still fly.
Well, you're starting to get those. You get up in the morning like, ugh. All right,
that's every day. That's just my daily dread. I've had that since I was 18, so that's nothing new. Once I became an adult and I had to join the workforce, every day has been ugh when I wake up.
Yeah, this damn adulting is bullshit, man. I tell you, who has to work for money? Just give me money for me not doing anything. That's
and I've worked at the same place, so I've had the same hours since I was 18. So literally every day is just ugh.
Your body's internal clock is just set for that now. It's like it just.
I wake up every day at like 5:30. On my own, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like clockwork. It sucks.
Well, we'll have to get some time next week, man, to have some drinks for a belated birthday thing. Then we'll have to plan something if you guys are.
Yeah, absolutely. I, like I said, I have my audit on Thursday. That's going to be consuming my brain. And I definitely am looking to, assuming that I pass, which I don't see why I wouldn't. I look forward to next Friday to just fucking chill and feel so relaxed because, again, stresses me the fuck out. But without further ado, we have BS'd plenty. It is time to get into the world of sports. And we are starting off with, give me just a second. I got to figure out how to do this. And let's hope I did it right.
George had this done already. Okay, here we go.
Boom. Myles Garrett, he did the unthinkable, I guess you could say. He came out first and demanded a trade. He wrote that little letter. He mocked Andrew Berry. He then went on a press tour about how he wants out of Cleveland. There's nothing they can do to save the relationship. There's no amount of money that's going to keep him here. It's beyond that. It's because he doesn't see alignment with their plans for the future. All he cares about is a championship, yada, yada, yada. Again, burned every possible bridge that he could in Cleveland. He ruined his relationship with the fans. Fans that are the most loyal Browns fans I've ever met were against him, rightfully so. He did nothing to make you think that he, to otherwise. Demanded a trade. Andrew Berry, not trading him. They held their ground. They kept saying it. Finally, Myles Garrett said, fuck it. I'm going above you, Andrew Berry. Who's above Andrew Berry? Jimmy Haslam. He demands a meeting with Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam politely declines, says, no, thank you, not interested. Now, this was the funny thing for me because Browns fans, again, I say this a lot, Browns fans are stupid for the most part. So you have Browns fans who, on one hand, hate Jimmy Haslam because they say he's too involved. He ruined this franchise. He's the worst owner in sports, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, all the guy has done is dump a ton of money into trying to win. Not a bad thing. in my opinion. But that's just my opinion on Jimmy Haslam. He is an owner who is beyond spending money on a franchise. He's just like Dan Gilbert. When Dan Gilbert went above and beyond to win a championship in 2016, he overspent. They went over the salary cap. He had no issue writing a check to win that championship. Jimmy Haslam has done nothing but try to do the same thing. There is not a moment where Jimmy Haslam's like, we can't afford that. It is, fuck it. Here's a blank check. Do whatever you think is good for this team. And he's let Paul DePodesta make a lot of decisions, and a lot of those decisions have backfired. And again, I'm not knocking anybody because I was all for the Deshaun Watson trade. So that's obviously what the big one that I'm talking about. But it is what it is. They made the trade. They went for it. It didn't happen. It didn't work. So it's not for lack of effort. He threw $250 million at a potential franchise quarterback for this team to succeed, and Browns fans hate him for it. What the fuck? But anyway, so Myles Garrett demands a meeting with Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam says no. Then Browns fans start talking again on social media about how the Browns are the most dysfunctional organization in football, blah, blah, blah. And Jimmy Haslam had no problem meeting with Deshaun Watson when Deshaun Watson was a free agent, but now he won't meet with Myles Garrett. What the fuck's wrong with him? They're ripping Jimmy Haslam a new asshole. But again, Jimmy Haslam's saying, not my call. You go meet with the GM. He is the one who makes the trades. He is the one who says you're not getting traded. End of discussion. And then within 48 hours of that nugget breaking, another nugget comes down that says Myles Garrett signs a 4-year extension with the Cleveland Browns with $123 million guaranteed, a no-trade clause, and makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. He is locked in Cleveland now after weeks of shit-talking the town, shit-talking the team. Little things were leaking out about how Myles was upset with his teammates because people weren't giving their all and lack of effort. So he's basically throwing his team under the bus. And again, says he wants out and there's nothing that's going to save this relationship. Signs a new contract. I have said all along, Myles Garrett had zero leverage in this situation. He was under contract for 2 more years. After those 2 years of his contract, the Browns could franchise tag him twice. So he is technically locked up for 4 years in Cleveland, and the Browns basically said, fuck you, here are your options. You can play under your current contract and make a lot less than you can if you accept our extension. You can sit out and not get paid. We don't give a fuck, not our money.
Your money back from you because you're getting fined for that.
And we're going to fine you every day for missing out on practices, so that's fine. You can lose money to not play, or you can sign this contract extension and become the highest paid non-quarterback, and you're in Cleveland anyway. So you have those 3 options. You're either in Cleveland making okay money for an NFL player, you're in Cleveland making $0, losing money, paying us, or you can option C, become the highest paid player to be in Cleveland. But those are your only 3 fucking options. You're in Cleveland no matter what. And he caved and signed the contract, and done deal.
Has the apology tour started yet? Did I miss it?
Yet to see it. Interesting enough, he was really fucking quick to get all those nuggets out. A lot of people said, and I didn't see it, that there was a Cavs game a couple of weeks ago, and he was there because he's a part owner of the Cavs. Very, very minor, like Usher-esque of like 1%. But he was there. They showed him on the Jumbotron, and I guess he got booed out of the fucking arena from what I've heard. And a lot of people are speculating that after he got booed, that's when he was like, all right, I got to fix this because they fucking hate me. Do I think that had anything to do with it? Personally, no. I think it was just he realized he had options.
Did I miss something? Are you saying did he sign after he got booed?
That was my understanding, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe he said something, came out and said something like he's sorry or whatever, but no.
No. My understanding was it was a Cavs home game. I don't know which one. I don't even remember the schedule off the top of my head.
Booed, though. That's what I don't get. Like he's still going to get booed. Like
I don't think he lit the town on fire because he signed the contract. I still think he does an apology.
Yeah, fuck him. I mean, I'm glad he stayed here, but at the same time, he literally just took a match to the city of Cleveland in 1 fucking full week, and now we're supposed to backtrack that. Like you're gonna walk back those comments. Like you're gonna say, oh, I didn't mean that my team was lazy. Oh, I didn't mean any of these other things that I said. Really, you're gonna walk that back?
Yeah, no. After sleeping on it, I do think this team can win a championship. I was wrong. He's never gonna come out and say that, but no. I mean, I'm with you. I love Myles Garrett, but at the same time, I'm going to be very critical of him. I was critical of him before. when he was hurt at the end of the 2023 season, when we made the playoffs, he was a ghost in that playoff game. I brought that up multiple times. In the last 8 weeks of that season, he had a shoulder injury, but he wasn't effective. He had 1 sack, and it was against the Jets. So it doesn't even really count. But he was a ghost for the last second half of the season, essentially, and in that playoff game. And I'm very critical of that. And then even last year, too. Last year, I feel like he could have done more. I think Myles Garrett, technically speaking, is a better football player than TJ Watt. He gets double teamed, triple teamed, etc., way more than TJ Watt. He's more athletic than TJ Watt, etc. But there are a lot of times where the game's on the line, it's crunch time, TJ Watt makes a huge play. Myles Garrett doesn't do that. I'll be the first to admit that. Myles Garrett has better stats. Myles Garrett, again, gets double teamed and triple teamed way more than TJ Watt. He has more pressures than TJ Watt by a fucking country mile. But again, when you boil it
to last year and the year before where Myles did step it up in a clutch, like that blocked field goal, or he
won us the game against the Indianapolis Colts in the 2023 season. No question about it. He had multiple sacks against Gardner Minshew, so that one I'll for sure give him that. He was a game wrecker. But a lot of times he gets sacks, like against the Chargers this year. He sacked Justin Herbert like 3 times in the first half or something like that. Like, that's cool, but we got our asses kicked. And I'm not blaming the loss on him by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, it's like your team's down 10 and you hit a home run in the 9th inning and you're a grand, whatever. You hit a home run and you're like trotting the bases, like pumping your fist because you got yourself some stats. It's like, well, it doesn't really make a fucking difference because your team got their asses kicked. So again, I'm not blaming Myles Garrett. I'm not saying because his team's losing, he should just not try, but it's more so like in a tight game, show up, or in the playoffs, for instance, against the fucking Houston Texans, show up. He didn't do that. And again, the Cleveland Browns and the organization has defended him through and through. When he had the helmet swinging incident, he had the car accident the year after. All these little things he's done. Now he comes out and talks shit in the media, demands a trade. They still give him a contract. They're still going to embrace him back here. Like, he needs to fucking grow up. There were some players that used to be in Cleveland. I think it was Sheldon Rankins, if I'm not mistaken, who, after he left Cleveland, he bashed Myles Garrett, and a lot of people didn't want to hear it, and basically said that Myles Garrett's not a leader, that he's a me guy. He shows up to practice or to training meetings, and he just sits there on his phone and like doesn't pay attention. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But there's a lot of things where it sounds like Myles Garrett can mature and can step it up a little bit now that he's got this huge contract.
I mean, it's going to test him a lot this year because he's not going to get the warm welcome that he's used to. So I'm wondering how he reacts to that, if he takes the high road or if he still acts like a little child sometimes. I'm curious how he does with that.
Yeah, we'll see. But again, I think first and foremost, he does owe the city of Cleveland an apology. I mean, again, he was quick to put out that fucking press release with his agent to demand the trade, did the media tour for Super Bowl, talked shit about the Browns for weeks, and then now he's staying here for 4 years with a no trade clause and not a peep. All I've heard from his agent was Myles is extremely excited to stay in Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. It's like, come out and fucking man up, dude. Admit you fucked up. Maybe come out and apologize and just be like, if he were honest, I'd be okay with it. I get where he was coming from. If he came out and he said, you know what, I was frustrated. I was watching the Super Bowl getting ready to happen, and it made me just pissed off that my team's not going to it, and I want a championship. So I wasn't thinking straight. Like, come out and admit, say something like that. I would be totally okay with that. But so far, it's been fucking crickets, and I think that's the biggest issue. Is he's been fucking quiet. But who knows what the Browns told him behind closed doors? Maybe they presented him with a plan of the future, and they sat him down and they said, hey, Myles, I tell you what, you want out of here, but you're not going anywhere. Our quarterback room is a mess. Best we can do. How about we bring in a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Lo and behold, Kenny Pickett gets traded to the Cleveland Browns. This has been the funniest trade in recent memory as a Browns fan, only because of the fucking overreactions from Browns fans. The fact that we traded a fifth, essentially 6th round pick. It's Detroit's.
It wasn't even our 5th round pick. It's the one we got from the Bills for Cooper.
No, we got this one from Detroit for Zadarius Smith.
Oh, I thought who'd we get for Cooper? I thought we got a 5th for Cooper as well.
We got a 3rd for Cooper, dude.
Oh, we still have the 3rd. That's right.
We ripped them the fuck off. So that's an even better pick. But no, this is the 5th round pick that we got for Zadarius Smith when he went to Detroit. And so again, it's essentially a 6th round pick. It's a very, very late 5th. And we traded it for Kenny Pickett, who's probably going to be the 3rd string quarterback here in Cleveland. The funniest thing for me is the amount of tweets that I saw where people were like, I don't understand why you trade a 5th-round pick for a 3rd-string quarterback. Nobody uses a 5th-round pick on a 3rd-string quarterback. And then I tweeted at a lot of people who said that, strangers, and I just said, fun fact, DTR was a 5th-round pick who was the Browns' 3rd-string quarterback for the last 2 years. So yes, teams do use 5th-round draft picks on 3rd-string quarterbacks. It is common. Currently, he is the only quarterback in the Cleveland quarterback room. And again, people are overreacting and they just go, oh, Kenny Pickett's your starter. That's it. The Browns are going with Kenny Pickett. And I'm like, no, he's not. What the fuck are you talking about? They're clearly not done with their quarterback room. I had to tell multiple people that. Mostly Steelers fans that are now trying to shit on Kenny Pickett, but when they drafted him, they thought he was a Hall of Famer. But now that he's on the Browns, they're laughing about it, which is ironic because we traded DTR, who again I think is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen play football, and a 5th-round, essentially 6th-round pick, which is nothing for the guy. They used a top 20 draft pick on him. So who's laughing now, Pittsburgh? You guys wasted a 1st-round pick on the guy. We got him for fucking garbage, and he's going to be sitting in our room as the 2nd or 3rd-string quarterback.
Also speaks to the people who were like huge on DTR being our starting quarterback. We traded him away and a 5th-round pick.
We were going to give him away.
Yeah. Like we could have traded him for a Parmenti sandwich or whatever they have out in Pittsburgh. It would have been an even trade there too.
My guess is the Browns were like, hey, Philly, we'll give you a 6th for Kenny Pickett. And they're like, okay. And the Browns were like, but wait, can we throw in DTR? And they're like, make it a 5th. We'll take that guy if you give us a better draft pick. And I feel like that's what happened with the negotiations. But yeah, no, I mean, again, DTR was a good kid. He went out there and got his ass kicked against the Ravens in his very first career start on short notice. He beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, which was fucking cool. Not many Browns quarterbacks can say that they did that. But overall, he just wasn't good. He couldn't stay healthy. He turned the ball over. He just had horrible field vision. I wish him nothing but the best. But Kenny Pickett's now here to, again, be probably our backup quarterback.
Hey, those tiny hands are meant for holding clipboards. That's pretty much it.
100%. Lenny Pickett is going to be on the show soon. I already talked to him and his agent. I got to hand it to him. They're a nice family, and they're going to be prominent here in Cleveland. But yeah, the bad takes that I've seen from people about this trade, and this is where I was talking. I was briefing everybody when you joined us about the Dueling Aces show. They again were talking about this trade. And because it is March, at the time of their show, it was March 10th, day one of free agency. The draft hasn't happened. Free agents are still available. The Browns aren't done getting free agents. They're not done trading, whatever. You would have thought the season starts tomorrow, the way they were breaking down the roster. First and foremost, George started off by saying, well, the Browns don't have a running game. And he said, what are they going to do? Is Nyheim Hines going to be the number 1 running back? And I commented really quickly because I was watching it on my phone. And I said, well, Nyheim Hines got released. So no, he won't be the starting running back. And then he was saying, well, what are they going to do? Is it just Jerome Ford? They're trying to get Jerome Ford, blah, blah, blah. They don't have Nick Chubb anymore, this and that. Last I checked, Nick Chubb's still available. Hasn't signed anywhere. Can't close the door on a return there. Thirdly, Jerome Ford isn't our only running back because there is a draft coming up. There is free agency happening right now. There is undrafted free agents. There are trades that are going to be made. The way the roster looks right now is not the opening day roster. So to panic and to think that we're going into the season with Kenny Pickett and Jerome Ford as our running back and quarterback duo is just absurd. And they were
didn't have the money to make moves on day one of free agency. They were not going to be in on any of these big signings that happened, right? And the biggest signing, I think, for a running back, I believe, was whatchamacallit out of Minnesota, which was they paid way over for him, Aaron Jones. And then whatchamacallit, I think Harris went to the Chargers.
Najee Harris went to the Chargers.
Yeah, so that's the other running back. There's really no other big running back signings. That's crazy,
no.
right?
And again, it's just the fact that they're overreacting as if this is the end. Like you're allowed to make one move in free agency or that's it. And again, as you said, the Browns did not make any moves on day one of free agency because they never do. If anything from Andrew Berry, if you've learned anything, it's that and I'm not trying to say the Browns are a good team. I know we have the 2nd overall pick. I know we just won 3 games. They're not a good team on paper. But I use this term as just a general broad statement. Good teams don't go crazy on day one of free agency. The teams that go after these big signings, these big name free agents are usually bad teams. That's just how it's always worked. The Browns used to be
they have the money to
one
do
team.
so, right? Because they're not good.
Exactly.
They don't have a roster. They don't have any big names on there, so they have the ability. We've all played Madden enough times, man. We know if we have a shitty season, we usually have a fucking lot of money in cap space. We can go and sign players for,
Who was the best team on free agency, for decades, when we were really bad? The Browns. They went after Gary Baxter. They went after Paul Kruger. They were the team going after these big name free agents, and then they all came here and sucked. They went after Dwayne Bowe. They went after all these guys, and they all sucked. The good teams don't make these moves. If you look around the NFL, look at teams that are consistently good. Who did the Chiefs go after? Nobody. They've let people go. The 49ers are actually a consistently good team, as much as I don't like them. They didn't go after anybody. Their cap situation is fucked. They let a lot of people go. The Houston Texans are in a really good situation. They have C.J. Stroud on a rookie contract. They've traded Laramie Tunsil. They're making moves to get rid of some people. Just most good teams, again, don't go crazy early in free agency. The Andrew Berry likes are very heavy with the second wave of free agents, which they're working on right now. We got what's his name? Cornelius. I forgot his last name. The swing tackle. We got a nice offensive lineman piece to come into Cleveland. We signed a defensive tackle today from the 49ers. They're making these small little moves under the radar of guys that most common football fans don't even know who the hell they are. And they're really smart moves for the Cleveland Browns. Again, they traded for Kenny Pickett, a 5th-round pick. So what did they do? They signed Joe Tryon from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who was a 1st-round draft pick just a few years ago. Did he work out in Tampa? No, he very underperformed, and that's why they let him go, and we got him. So in the offseason, the Browns have now acquired 2 former 1st-round picks, and it's cost them next to nothing. I don't know.
Malik Collins for a 2-year deal for $20 million. Pretty good signing.
Defensive tackle for the Niners. He technically has more pressures than Dalvin Tomlinson, who we cut. So we cut Dalvin Tomlinson to get Malik Collins, who is cheaper, who is more efficient in terms of pressures, and we got him for 2 years. So that's a good move by the Browns that goes under the radar. But again, so many moves to be made. The Browns are linked to a couple of people, one of them being Brandon Ayuk. There's a rumor that the Browns are interested in trading Greg Newsome and a couple day 3 draft picks to get Brandon Ayuk from the Niners, because the Niners are done. The Niners are in full rebuild mode. They've released Kyle Juszczyk, who I thought would retire there. They've let go of a ton of people. They've lost Chadarius Ward. They traded Deebo Samuel to the Commanders. They're looking to trade Brandon Ayuk. They're only going to pay Brock Purdy, and that's pretty much it. So best of luck in San Francisco, but I don't like that team's not very good.
That's a very small market for Juszczyk. I mean, there's not many fullback positions out there anymore.
No, not at all. And one of the teams that actually uses a fullback a lot is the Baltimore Ravens, and they've re-signed Patrick Ricard, their fullback. So there's another team off the market that won't need him. So it'll be interesting to see if Kyle Juszczyk gets a deal. He would fit with Kevin Stefanski's offense, and he happens to be local. I believe he went to St. Ed's or Ignatius, one of the two. I don't remember which one, but I believe he's a local kid.
His wife won't be able to sell as many jackets in Cleveland, though. I mean, San Francisco is prime market for her, so.
It gets cold here. There's plenty of needs for jackets. But yeah, I like what the Browns have been doing. And again, they're linked to a couple people. They're linked to Brandon Ayuk. They are now linked to a name we were teasing earlier, Russell Wilson. I didn't think that was going to happen. But Russell Wilson is officially flying to Cleveland, probably landing any minute now. He's going to meet with the Browns tomorrow. And as Steve said in the comments, and I wholeheartedly agree, it'll be interesting how they sell Russell Wilson to Jerry Jeudy. However, again, I won't judge any quarterback move that comes to Cleveland because of Kevin Stefanski. I know he gets a lot of hate from Browns fans. That was another one from George's friends. I meant to talk about that. I skipped over it. They said that Barry and Stefanski need fired. They're awful. And the Deshaun Watson trade set the franchise back 15 years. I'm not exaggerating. They said 15 years it set the team back.
Can we get on this show with them next time?
We should. I'm all for it. Since we traded for Deshaun Watson 3 seasons ago, the Browns have made the playoffs once. In Browns terms, that's fantastic. How did it set the franchise back? You're again, the biggest thing that a lot of people like to complain about, that again, I don't mean this in a bad way. I'm not trying to be a dick. people that complain about the salary cap for the Browns don't understand the salary cap. I got into an argument with a guy on Twitter the other day. Well, he argued with me because they restructured.
You argue with somebody on Twitter? I don't believe it. No.
I just tried to educate him because he said he was bitching and he's like, who are the Browns going to get in free agency? They don't have any fucking money. And I'm like, they literally just restructured Deshaun Watson and that cleared $36 million off the cap. And he's like, they only have $12 million to spend. They're not going to be able to get anybody. And I just think in my head, like, you really don't understand how restructurings work. Like now with the Myles Garrett deal that restructures things, after announcing the releases officially for Juan Thornhill and for Dalvin Tomlinson, these guys, that then turns into cash you can spend. Like, the Browns are fine. And on top of it, and I can't stress this enough, every year the salary cap jumps up a significant amount, which makes the Deshaun Watson hit less and less on your cap. That's why they're pushing it out.
Jumping up a lot next year too. I mean, it's like every year it's a new TV deals get done or reworked,
and you're getting an extra 20 to 30 million on your cap, which for a guy who's taking up 50, $60 million, that cuts it in half right there. And again, Browns fans, they just want you to cut Deshaun Watson. That would ruin your cap situation. That's the same reason they were not trading Myles Garrett. Andrew Berry did not sign Deshaun Watson to this deal without a 10-year plan about it. He didn't just do it and go, oh, this is going to suck. I don't know what we're going to do. He did it, and he knows I'm going to restructure him X amount of times. If I'm not mistaken, the guy that I've told everybody to follow, Jack Duffin on Twitter, he has posted already that after they restructured him the first time, basically Deshaun Watson's getting cut in 2027. So he'll be here for this year. He'll be injured. We'll get the tax or the insurance back because he's not going to play more than likely.
I think that's another $30-some million right there.
Yeah, that comes back in insurance, and then he's going to be on the team for the 2026 season, and then in the 2027 season, he will be cut, and he will be off the books forever. That's unfortunately how his career will end with the Cleveland Browns.
Will it go down as a bad trade in hindsight? Of course, right? But going into not knowing any of this would happen, in the moment, it was one of the best trades we've made because we thought we were getting Deshaun Watson of old, not my head is so fucked up I have no way of throwing a football anymore, Watson, right? It happens.
Yeah. Again, the hindsight warriors that like to just shit on the Browns for every little thing they do, whether they're fans, whether they're not. About half the league, I've said this a million times. I'm a broken record at this point. About half the league inquired about Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson narrowed his list down to like 5 teams. Browns were on that list. Browns were out. Browns offered him money, a guaranteed contract. He took it. And there were other teams in that top 5 that found out about the guaranteed contract, and they were pissed because they said, why the fuck didn't we get a chance to match it? So there were other teams that were going to be willing to pay him that amount of money. Cleveland got him, didn't work out, but of course everyone just says, oh, it's the Browns because they're terrible. But had nothing to do with that. The Browns, again, they swung for the fences. They made a very bold decision and tried to get a franchise quarterback for the city, and fans are so fucking ungrateful that they still shit on the owner and the GM for doing so. So it just shows you that you can't win in Cleveland no matter what. It's a lose-lose situation. But yeah, they're making some moves. Kenny Pickett he's a former first-round pick. Do I think he deserved to go in the first round in that draft? Absolutely not. I was one of the most vocal haters of Kenny Pickett, and rightfully so. I didn't think he would be good in the NFL. But regardless, he was a first-round pick. He is now in Cleveland as, again, at worst, your third-string quarterback, and at best, your second. That's it. He's a first-round pick. He's been on 2 teams. He's now won a Super Bowl ring. He got snaps in that game, completely irrelevant snaps that didn't matter, but he still took snaps in a Super Bowl game.
Still got a ring.
Super Bowl. Exactly. Again, he didn't do much for it, but he got a Super Bowl ring, and now he's our third, maybe second-string quarterback. But again, the quarterback room is not finished. It's going to look very different. Again, as Kyle said, probably by the end of this weekend. There are reports that Kirk Cousins is going to officially get released from the Atlanta Falcons this week.
I think on Sunday they're keeping him too, they said, yeah.
Because they owe him a huge roster bonus if he's on the team on Monday. So they have to release him by Monday. And they're trying to lie to people, and they're like, oh, no, we're going to keep him. We're going to let him be the backup. We want him here in Atlanta. But anyone with a brain looks at that and goes, yeah, there's no fucking way they're paying this dude $40 million to be the backup quarterback. There's just no way.
Right.
So they're going to let him go. They have Michael Penix Jr. on a rookie contract. This is the time to just try to build around your rookie until you have to pay him a huge contract. If you draft well and you get yourself a nice young quarterback, You have this luxury to go crazy with money until you owe him that money. And that was working for San Francisco. They got Brock Purdy. They went to a Super Bowl with him. And now it's time to pay the piper. Brock Purdy has to get paid. They had to release a shitload of people. Same thing's happening in Houston. As I mentioned earlier, CJ Stroud is currently playing on a rookie contract. They're able to go after a lot of people. Now, when CJ Stroud's due for money, they're fucked. They're going to have to make a lot of tough decisions. They're going to have to pay CJ Stroud a lot of money. That's just the way the NFL works. So right now, the who the fuck were we talking about? I just lost my train of thought completely.
Kirk Cousins,
the Atlanta Falcons. That's it. Michael Penix is on a rookie contract in year number 2 out of 5. So they have the luxury to sign some people. And paying Kirk Cousins just is not a smart investment, in my opinion, for your backup quarterback who clearly is not interested in a mentor role. He wants to go play somewhere. And that's what makes me a little worried.
Part of me thinks he would personally love to come here just with the connection with Stefanski. I think that's an important connection to have something with your coach like that. Now,
I have 2 concerns about both quarterbacks.
Okay.
Obviously, Russell Wilson looks washed. Hard to tell.
He had his ups and downs last year. He looked better last year than he did in Denver. That's for sure.
Well, the funny thing, too, that a lot of people don't realize, if you look at his numbers from his last year in Denver, really wasn't that bad. He actually had a pretty good year. I really tried to downplay it because when he went to the Steelers, I was like, oh, fucking Russell Wilson sucks. But then I looked at his numbers and I was like, God damn it. Like, he actually wasn't that bad. And again, I'm not trying to say this. I don't want you to think I'm just trying to justify Russell Wilson to Cleveland. I'm just being honest. He had pretty good numbers in Denver. Then he went to Pittsburgh, who, in my opinion, I don't know if it's Mike Tomlin. I don't know who it is. But their offense is just putrid. It has been. It was when they had Matt Canada. It is now that they have Arthur Smith. Their offense just is not good. Now they lost Najee Harris, who never missed a game. He is one of the only running backs in the NFL that for 4 consecutive years was over 1,000 yards. And they let him walk for Jaylen Warren, who can't stay healthy. Again, I'm not dueling aces. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers running back room is finished because it's March 13th, or 12th, whatever the fuck the day is. But I do think losing Najee Harris is a kind of a big blow for their offense. Yes, they did acquire DK Metcalf. That was a trade that happened for them. I
don't think they're done trading either. I don't think Pickens is thicker. I think they trade Pickens.
I mean, for me, I laughingly told my buddies, I was like, how the fuck are you going to have a locker room where your offense is potentially Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens? The day that
Tomlin loves the drama, so I could see it being like his favorite thing ever. But
yeah.
I think they take Pickens now that they have DK and try to trade him around for like a first round pick because he's worth the first round pick. Mid to low level first round pick value, right? He's worth that, and they get it back and use that for a defensive pickup or whatever, right? Because they lost some defense, I believe, even though they signed Slay, but I think they lost some other defensive players.
They lost a lot of defensive. They lost some good linebackers. They brought in.
That's just my guess. I don't know. Maybe they do keep both of them, but they're both going to be ball happy. They're both going to want the ball and be pissed off when they don't get the ball. So you can't have both of them in that room. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's bizarre to me that they made that trade. I mean, more power to them to get DK Metcalf again, but I just think that imagine if those 3 are all on the same team together. Rodgers is known for throwing his teammates under the bus if they do something wrong. He's not a great teammate. It's shown. DK Metcalf is a hothead who's known to, again, get very physical and get pissed off if he doesn't get the ball. Same with George Pickens. George Pickens talks shit and throws his teammates under the bus and his coaches under the bus.
I just don't see how it works. I
jokingly said that they're going to be Chernobyl 2.0. Like, they are going to be a nuclear fucking reactor ready to explode.
I mean, I'd be okay with it because I'd be like the what's-his-face in The Wedding Singer from the side curtain, like watching Adam Sandler melt down, like, and enjoying every bit of it. You know? Yeah,
I mean, it's fucking crazy to me. It honestly is like, that's the thing too, though, is they are now linked to Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, sorry, I forgot to change the slide. Okay. Really quickly, the Browns free agents, as we talked about, they signed an offensive lineman, they signed a defensive lineman. They brought back
Sean, but we'll let it go.
Yeah, they brought back Devin Bush on a 1-year on a contract to play.
I like that deal too. The Bush thing, I like that. He did pretty well last year when he was in there.
I do too. They traded for Kenny Pickett. They're making some moves, and again, there's no chance they're done. They're currently waiting for a veteran quarterback, not named Joe Flacco, hopefully, and they are going from there. And yeah, the dueling aces, Browns take. I talked enough about them. Again, just some of the worst takes I've ever heard.
Hey, we needed a rivalry podcast. Now we got it. Let's start the podcast.
Yeah, 100%. And then again, they weren't even talking about us. I was just listening to their takes, and I'm like, this is horrible.
Now they have something to talk about.
They were literally talking about how Stefanski and Barry should be fired, how the Deshaun Watson trade set the team back 15 years, which, how did it set them back 15 years? They're literally done. The trade's done. They have all their draft picks now and then some. The salary cap is fine. Andrew Barry is so fucking smart with the salary cap. No one wants to give him any credit. The dude, as a child, the story is well known. He pretended to be a GM when he was a kid for fun. He knows all about the cap and how to manipulate the cap and how to push. Yes, we're kicking the can down the road, as they say for Deshaun Watson, but that's fine because, again, every year it's down the road, it's cheaper because of the salary cap going up. So you can shit on it all day, but it's a smart fucking move for a business. So yeah, a lot of just
same reason why Donald Trump doesn't file taxes. He knows the laws of tax code, right?
Exactly.
They're there to be used and manipulated to your advantage. It happens.
Yeah, he's like, fuck you, I'm not showing you my taxes, I'm not doing my taxes, and there's nothing you do about it. And that's what Andrew Barry's doing. Andrew Barry's like, fuck you, you don't worry about my salary cap. I know what the hell I'm doing. But around the NFL, there were plenty of moves. There were my buddy in Seattle, or my friend who is a Seattle fan, he's actually in technically New Jersey. He is losing his fucking mind right now for the Seattle Seahawks. They traded away Geno Smith, who he was actually happy about. They traded Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick, which I couldn't understand, but that's Pete Carroll doing Pete Carroll things. So then, next thing you know, Seattle doesn't have a quarterback. Seattle then releases Tyler Lockett because they needed to clear up some money, who's a staple in Seattle. Then they trade DK Metcalf to the Steelers. Now they have fucking nothing. Their offense is terrible. They have no offensive line. They have okay running backs. They have no wide receivers. And then they sign Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100 million contract because Sam Darnold has less than one full season of playing decent football. He has acquired a $100 million contract to be the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks.
I mean, Seattle does have something. They have the 12th man.
They need the 12th man to put on a jersey and play because their talent is that bad that the 12th man might be a better option than some of the people they currently employ. They're a bad fucking team, truthfully. They had one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. Geno Smith was just able to work around it. Now they have Sam Darnold, who, again, he's played less than 1 year of decent football, and they gave that to $100 million.
Darnold was in the playoffs last year. That's who you get with him. When the spotlight's on, that's what you're getting.
Agreed. I jokingly told him, I said, you guys got New York Sam Darnold. You're not getting first half of the year, quote unquote, MVP candidate Minnesota Darnold. You're getting New York Darnold, especially again they have no fucking talent on that team. So it's really interesting to see what the Seattle Seahawks are going to be doing. I mean, to me, they're in a complete rebuild. They traded DK Metcalf for a second-round pick, or was it a first-round pick?
They changed. I think it was a second round. DK.
It was a second. That's right. Yeah, they traded DK Metcalf for a second-round pick. They traded Geno Smith for a third-round pick. So they're loaded with draft picks, so they can definitely go into a rebuild mode. They just have to hit their picks. It's just an interesting move. Don't understand it. Yeah, it was a second. Okay. Kyle mentioned earlier, Najee Harris went from Pittsburgh to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers had a player leave from them, a young Joey. I take that back. He's not very young anymore. Joey Bosa was released because his contract was a little too high and he can't stay healthy.
Did you see the quote that they put out? I know it had to be fake, but it's like he's like I had to get out of there. The Harbaugh was making it too Michigan-y.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I could see Harbaugh making things fucking weird. But yeah, so Joey Bosa gets released from the Chargers. Joey Bosa goes to the Buffalo Bills, which is an interesting spot for him.
I mean, it's an upgrade over Von Miller. Von Miller's age and condition right now, I think. And then they signed Obijobi or whatever his name today too.
Yeah, it's a really good move for them. It's just more so they need what's his face, Joey Bosa, to stay healthy. Joey Bosa just has proven that he cannot stay healthy. A couple other moves here around the league. Let me go back. I apologize. I am on the wrong day. It'll let me go from. Oh no, it's all here. Perfect. So let me start here with some of the bigger signings, if you will. I don't know why this is in no good order. I'm on Spotrac, and it is not giving me things in order. Let's just start with some of the bigger named ones. Tyrann Mathieu, he stays in New Orleans on a restructured deal. Leonard Floyd was released by the San Francisco 49ers. Joe Tryon signed by the Browns. Miles Sanders, running back, was released from the Carolina Panthers, and they just signed Rico Dowdle today, which is a good signing for them. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, who was a guy who I thought the Browns might have been interested in, he signs a 1-year, $14 million deal with the Indianapolis Colts. Will Freeze, the guard, signs a 5-year contract, $88 million with the Minnesota Vikings. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he gets traded from Philadelphia to Houston. Good trade for them to get a little help in the secondary. Javon Holland leaves Miami and goes to the New York Giants. Cornelius Lucas, the offensive lineman for the Browns, they signed him. I don't know why these are in such a fucked up order. Chase Young stays with the 3-year contract to stay in New Orleans. Kyle Juszczyk, as mentioned, has been released. Joseph Asai stays in Cincinnati on a 1-year contract. James Hudson, the former Browns swing tackle, signs a 2-year, $11 million contract with the New York Giants. Joshua Dobbs signs a 2-year, $8 million contract to go to New England. Man, this is so fucking out of order. I don't understand how this website did that. One of the biggest busts of all time, Zach Wilson signs a 1-year contract with the Miami Dolphins. Dre Greenlaw signs with the Denver Broncos. Their defense just keeps getting better. Good for them. Jeremy Chin signs with the Raiders. Laramie Tunsil gets traded to Washington. Washington has acquired Laramie Tunsil. They've acquired Deebo Samuel. They are not fucking around in Washington. They want to win, and they want to win now.
Washington's going to be a good team next year, man.
100%. If Jim Daniels doesn't have that second year.
Slump, yes.
Justin Fields signs a 2-year, $40 million contract with $30 million guaranteed to be in the New York Jets.
Honestly, he's reunited with Garrett Wilson. I like that for him. I think he's going to do pretty well there. Team still sucks, but good for you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for him. Of all the teams to go to, he went to one where he has no hope. But hey, $30 million guaranteed. I'd happily go there if I had to. Elijah Mitchell goes from the San Francisco 49ers to the Kansas City Chiefs. Jimmy Garoppolo stays in Los Angeles. Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, signs a 3-year contract with the Washington Commanders, who, again, they're just going for it. Chris Godwin stays in Tampa Bay. Hassan Reddick signs a 1-year contract to go to Tampa Bay.
I mean, the Washington Commanders are the prime example of what you just said. When you have a rookie quarterback and he's good, you have
all in and spend that money. You have 4 more years to spend whatever the fuck they want before they have to pay him. That's pretty much it off the top of my head. I'm scrolling here, but not a lot has happened. Harold Landry signs a contract with the Patriots after being released from the Titans. Devontae Adams signs a 2-year, $44 million deal to go to the Rams. Zadarius
I'm released. Him and Matt Stafford do out there. I'm curious.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because he's replacing Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has been released, so it is going to be Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I personally find it kind of shitty that Puka Nacua has to change his number.
That's what I'm doing, Dave. I got the Ben Affleck look. I'm going to start marrying 2 Latinos and divorce her at the same time.
I keep forgetting. Dave, what's up, dude? Kyle looking like Ben Affleck. Hey, that's a nice compliment. I would say, Dave, Dave, haven't talked to you in a while. Hope you're doing well. I would recommend an appointment with your optometrist if you think Kyle looks like
pretty good, pretty decent nowadays.
You need Dunkin' in your hand. If you're not drinking Dunkin', it doesn't count.
I need that thick Boston accent too.
Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, that's pretty much, again, I'm just going on Spotrac there. The fucking order was ridiculous. I don't understand.
Cowboys fucking them, shooting themselves in the foot too. Like, they're not doing anything to help their team right now, which is hilarious to me.
No, they can't. Darius Slay signs a 1-year, $10 million fully guaranteed contract to go to Pittsburgh, which is interesting because he got benched for a while in Philadelphia because he takes a lot of plays off and gets smoked a lot. And Pittsburgh.
He also has a bad attitude too.
Pretty bad attitude.
It's just funny that
here's like $10 million guaranteed.
Give me your poor and shitty attitude players, and we'll definitely take them and put them underneath.
More power to him in Pittsburgh. Again, it's Chernobyl 2.0. And then one of the other moves of note, Evan Ingram was released from the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. He just signed a contract with the Denver Broncos. So they get themselves a pretty nice tight end for Bo Nix. So a lot of moves, a lot of wheeling and dealing, a lot of trades, a lot of shit's been happening. The NFL is changing, but it's early.
A lot of time left.
Yeah, by this time in 2 weeks, I assume, definitely next week with my audit being on Thursday, I am not doing a show on Wednesday no matter what, unless like the biggest fucking move of all time happens. Dave, Puka was willing to give up his number. Anyone got a QB? I didn't want Slay. No, not really, Dave. Just, obviously Danny Dimes yesterday. Right now, Russell Wilson's in Cleveland to meet with the Browns tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers, my understanding, is holding up the Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers in a bidding war, I think. I think he's just trying to take the most money. I don't think he's interested in winning anymore at this stage of his career, it seems like. And Kirk Cousins is expected to be released by Sunday if they cannot find a trade partner, because he is owed a massive a bonus if he's on the roster on the 17th. So I expect him to be released on Sunday. And if they don't sign Russell Wilson, from what I've read, it basically says that it's just a matter of time before Kirk Cousins is signing with the Cleveland Browns. And then that, we'll have plenty of time to talk about this, but it's interesting to think about what is going to happen with the Cleveland Browns at the number 2 overall pick now if they do. Steelers don't have a quarterback. No, I agree. Yeah, you guys kind of in a tough spot. Truthfully, your pickings are getting slim. No pun intended. You have Russell Wilson. You've got maybe Kirk Cousins and maybe Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty much it that's available. You guys could get Jameis Winston. You guys got Joe Flacco available if you want. Letting Justin Fields go to the Steelers was interesting to me. I really thought Fields would have been the guy that they would have brought back. I saw when they traded for DK Metcalf.
The Steelers have a quarterback, but Big Ben's getting ready to suit back up again. You didn't see that?
The offer to come back.
You noticed that they only had the helmet, nothing below the waist, because down here he's a little chub. But
yeah, he looks like he's a starting offensive lineman at this point in his career, or at this point in his life, I should say. His career is long over. But yeah, I don't know. The Steelers really put themselves in a bad situation. They have Russell's not coming back. I don't know. I don't think the Browns are going to sign him, so he's going to be a free agent. I mean, again, if the rumors are true, that the Browns are pretty much locked in 100% on Kirk Cousins, this Russell Wilson meeting is interesting. I'm not really sure what to make of it. And again, I was telling Kyle, I don't think you were on here yet, Dave. If you look back, Russell Wilson actually had a pretty good year in Denver before he went to Pittsburgh. I just think Pittsburgh's offense as a whole, whether it's Arthur Smith, whether it's Matt Canada, I just think they don't know what they're doing.
I think if Big Ben wants any he should go back and be the offensive coordinator for the Steelers. If he wants any to help out.
Well, the rumor is Ben Roethlisberger sees all the Justin Tucker news, and he's like, wow, white guys can still get away with sexual assault. I think I need to go back. So I think that's why he wants to come back to the NFL.
What's Tucker up to now? Is he up to Watson numbers yet, or does he have to pump those?
I don't know if he's gotten to 20, but it is very, very funny to me that the Justin Tucker saga is so fucking quiet around the NFL. But when it was Deshaun Watson, it was the biggest news. Still is. Every article, anything tweeted about the Cleveland Browns, there's going to be a comment underneath it about Deshaun Watson, no matter what. Now, Justin Tucker, a white guy, all these accusations. Nothing. Hush.
Well, he's a Christian man.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. His wife said he didn't do it, or a girlfriend, or whatever the fuck.
Jesus would never let that happen.
No, Jesus would have put those women in the kitchen where they belong, according to Harrison Butker. Yeah, Dave says Wilson's going to be a Brown. I mean, honestly, I don't hate it. I was telling Kyle, we were kind of talking about it. I kind of got sidetracked, to be honest. I have my issues with all of the free agent quarterbacks that are linked to the Browns. So right now, the two that are linked to the Browns are Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. Cousins, I'll start off right there. Was last year just him recovering from the Achilles injury, or is he cooked? And the guy that I follow, that I try to tell everybody that I recommend following, Cleveland TA or Cleve TA, however you say his Twitter name, fantastic follow on Twitter. This dude is a diehard nerd when it comes to looking up statistics and numbers and analytics, and he can break down anything, and he does that. And he basically has shown, and this is what scares me away from Kirk Cousins, that aging quarterbacks that show a steep decline in their performance don't get better. He said this is similar to the Matt Ryan fall off. When Matt Ryan sucked in Atlanta and then went to the Colts for that year and was fucking awful, he said this is just like that. And Kirk Cousins is less talented than Matt Ryan, who was an MVP and took a team to a Super Bowl. So that scares me. He's 36, I think, something like that, Kirk Cousins is. He's my age, which I shouldn't be in the NFL. I'm fucking old. I think I'm worried that the Kirk Cousins fall off last year was not a fluke. And Russell Wilson has shown he can still play. I would love Cousins to the Steelers because, again, for those same reasons that that guy was tweeting about, that when you take a guy who's struggling with arm strength and struggling with I'm sorry, I always forgot you could click show the comments. I'll do that. Again, I'm running the board. I'm not good at this. But guys who struggle and are old don't get better. And then when you put them in a cold situation where they're playing outdoors mostly, it's even worse. And it really scares me away from him. So personally, if gun to my head right now, if I had to pick one of the remaining veteran quarterbacks, I would take Russell Wilson. And I hate to say it, I would take Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins. I'm going A through C. I would go Rodgers, Wilson, and then Cousins.
I haven't heard any more talk about Rodgers coming to Cleveland.
No, I don't think he would ever. There's no chance. Because again, it sounds like right now he's just looking for a team who's willing to pay him.
He's on that Brett Favre tour, man. He's going to end up.
Unless he's using the Giants just for leverage to screw the Steelers out of more money, he's legitimately considering going to the Giants, who are a very bad football team. So he would only be going there for the money. And
go to Minnesota, man. Go to Minnesota.
At this point, get Mason Rudolph to Pittsburgh, give him a shot. I mean, Mason Rudolph looked like the best quarterback on Tennessee last year. I know that's not saying much because Will Mayonnaise Levis is not very good. But yeah, Pittsburgh's really in a tough situation. I mean, Gardner Minshew's available. I'm not saying for Pittsburgh, but for whomever. What if Kenny was your starter? Dave, literally almost no chance it's going to happen, honestly. If they don't get a veteran quarterback to be the number one quarterback, they're drafting one at 2, and whoever you draft at 2 is your starter from day one. It's not even close. Kenny Pickett was literally just brought in to be the backup. It was a smart backup move. He's better than DTR. Unfortunately, the Browns have had so many quarterback injuries that we do have to rely on our third and fourth string quarterbacks sometimes, and I think replacing DTR with Kenny Pickett is a no-brainer move. Kenny Pickett's not very good, but he's 15-10 as a starter, shown that he can at least manage a game. DTR cannot. Again, DTR is, in my opinion, nice kid, one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever watched play football. So it was just a lateral move for your third string quarterback. We traded away a third string quarterback that costs a 5th round pick for a 5th round pick. To me, it was, whatever.
I wonder where.
I don't think there's a chance Kenny Pickett's a starting quarterback. I don't think you don't trade a 5th round pick for a guy to be your starter. That's I
wonder where Jameis Winston ends up next year. Where do you think he's going to go?
Honest to God, I've seen rumors. Pittsburgh. I swear.
I mean, hey, you know what you get with him. He's still got an arm, man. He's going to throw you
4 sure
touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
And when you have DK Metcalf and you have fucking Kenny Pickens, a good quarterback for that group is Jameis Winston. Just throw the ball up. Hope for the best.
That's literally they're out there somewhere.
There is not a throw he is afraid to make, and that is the perfect duo to throw to where you can literally just say, fuck it, someone's going to catch it, and that's Jameis Winston. But yeah, there's basically right now, if I'm remembering correctly, there's about 3 teams that unless they're going for, Tennessee is going to be looking for a veteran quarterback most likely, but I doubt it. I think they still have Will Levis and they still have Mason Rudolph, so they don't really need a bridge quarterback, quote unquote, assuming they're taking Cam Ward at 1. The Giants have nothing. The Giants need a quarterback in the worst way, and they're not in a good position to draft one, so they're going to need a veteran. So again, that's why they're linked to Aaron Rodgers, and I haven't seen them linked to anybody else. So that's what makes me think that gun to my head, I would probably say right now, Rodgers goes to the Giants, Wilson goes to the Steelers, Kirk Cousins ends up with the Browns. That's gun to my head. Out of the 3 players available, I'd say they're the top 3 quarterbacks that are going to be available, and the top 3 teams that are looking for quarterbacks right now. So if that's how the dominoes fall, that's my guess. Not really any other teams I can think of off the top of my head that are going to be looking for one of those guys. There are going to be teams that need backup quarterbacks, but I don't think those 3 players are interested in going to spots where they're going to be backups. I think, again, Cousins wasn't happy about his situation. He signed a good deal with Atlanta. They immediately drafted Michael Penix, and everybody scratched their head. And then Kirk Cousins sucked. Michael Penix became the starter. They're not looking back. Pittsburgh, no idea what the fuck they're doing. They had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. They let Justin Fields go to the Jets. Russell Wilson is now shopping.
They have a lot of money coming into this season. I didn't even look at that. I mean, they're throwing
Pittsburgh.
Money. Yeah.
I don't actually know what their cap situation is, to be honest. I would assume it's pretty good. They don't really have any stud players that they're overly paying. Like normally your biggest cap hit is your like an offensive lineman, and they don't have any good offensive linemen that are like getting huge contracts. Defensively, TJ Watt's
48.4 million going into the offseason.
Yeah, that's a good amount of money because again, TJ Watt has a pretty decent deal for his position and his talent. And that's it. Like secondary wise, they're not paying anybody huge. Joey Porter Jr. still on a rookie contract. Offensively, they're not paying Najee Harris. They don't have any George Pickens is still on a rookie contract. They're now paying DK Metcalf, but even that's not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things. And they don't have a quarterback. So that's where most of your money goes. If you're a team, your cap situation, you usually hit from a top corner, a top wide receiver, quarterback, offensive lineman, defensive end. Those are the 5 spots. And they don't really have many. So they have $55 million right now. They have no quarterback. They have no offensive linemen that they're paying. They're paying no corners that much money. And then they're paying a wide receiver a decent amount and TJ Watt a decent amount. So that's really it. So they're pretty good cap wise. It's just a matter of who the fuck's going to be the quarterback for that team.
Yep.
Because there's not many options and they're picking 20 something. I forgot exactly when, but they made the playoffs last year. So they have a pick in the 20s. And I mean, you're taking fucking Quinn Ewers, good luck. I don't know who the hell they're going to take there.
Did he declare? I forgot. He did declare, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him. That kid out of Ole Miss that he's getting.
Jackson, there's rumors he's not even going to make it there to the 20s. There's rumors he's going to be a top 10 pick. He has floated up the draft boards.
He's starting to get some positive highlights on him right now.
To be honest, this year's draft feels a lot like the 2022, I think, the year that Kenny Pickett got drafted, that year that there were no good quarterbacks in that draft. The Malik Wills, the Kenny Pickett fucking draft, those guys all sucked. I said it from the beginning. I'm like, there's not one quarterback that should be taken in the first round, but teams will. I did not expect it to be the Steelers that year, but they were. This year's draft kind of feels the same. Like Cam Ward looks good, but I'm not like, you got to, trade the farm to get this guy.
Cam Ward strikes me as like a Jamarcus Russell where you give him a playbook and he won't make it through the playbook. That's just, I don't know.
That's my worry with him as well. I don't think he's as talented as people are making him to be.
Non-prepared type quarterback,
And then you got Shedeur Sanders, who seems like personally, I think he's a professional. I really do. I know what family he comes from, but I think Deion has taught him well to the point where he is going to be a consummate professional. He's going to study the playbook. He's going to be the first one to practice, the last one to leave. I just don't think that can guarantee you having talent. I don't think Shedeur Sanders' talent level is there of a franchise-changing quarterback, in my opinion. Now, again, I'm a Browns fan. If we draft Shedeur Sanders, let's go. I'm riding with you, dude. I hope for the best. I'm going to be rooting for you every week. I would never root against him as long as he's a Cleveland Brown, but I'm just being honest about my assessment. I don't love any quarterbacks in this class. Jackson Dart is an intriguing prospect, but again, I don't think he's worth a fucking top 10 pick if the rumors are true that that's where he might go. He is a day 2 pick at best.
I mean, Jalen Milroe now has 9-inch hands, and that's one of your criteria, right? So
yeah, Jalen Milroe had, I text Kyle that, I said he took performance-enhancing drugs because he went from having like 8.5-inch hands to 9 inches in 2 weeks. So how the fuck did that happen? I don't know. Either way, I am anti-Jalen Milroe because the stats or the visuals don't lie. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. That's my favorite quote when I'm discussing quarterbacks or any position. Jalen Milroe holds the ball so fucking long and makes really bad decisions. That is a recipe for disaster. That is something you can't coach out of a player. He is trained to play the way he plays. I don't think he will be a successful NFL quarterback. Don't like him. Now, Will Howard, and I'm not just saying this because of Ohio State, because everyone here knows where I stand. I like Ohio State, but I don't care. Will Howard has the size and the pedigree to be a NFL quarterback. He's big. He has a strong arm. He makes smart plays, but I've also seen him struggle against good defenses. So he's a guy who, yeah, if you take him in the third round or something like that and let him sit for a year or two, maybe you try him out at quarterback in a couple of years. I could see that possibly being successful. But Will Howard is not a guy that I even consider taking to be your starting franchise quarterback.
He had a good scouting, whatchamacallit in Indy.
Yeah, combine was fine. He had a good, he's got a good arm. He's got all the tools to be a quarterback. I just don't think he has the talent put together. Again, he needs years of sitting, and even then, I'm questionable if he could be successful. Quinn Ewers, not a fan of. And there's another quarterback or two I'm sure I'm forgetting, but
someone's going to get overdrafted. I do think it's going to be Sanders for sure. Travis Hunter, I know he's not a quarterback, but Travis Hunter is interesting. I think he doesn't make it out of the top 5. I think someone takes him in the top 5.
Travis Hunter's going in the top 5. I personally hope it's not the Browns. I don't know.
We put him as he has to be defensive back. We're not going to use him as a wide receiver.
No, the Browns have come out and said they view him as a wide receiver. They said if they draft him, he's a wide receiver. And in my opinion, for both sides of the football, he's good at both positions. He's not elite at any. I don't think he's an elite corner. I don't think he's an elite wide receiver. I think he is a very athletic football player. The two position thing is not going to work in the NFL. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. You're going to ruin the guy's career if you make him do that, because that's just you're doubling his injury risk at the NFL level. You are, wearing him down. You're putting more miles on the tires, if you will. So maybe you make him again, this is just hypothetically speaking, if a team drafts him, I would say make him a wide receiver, and maybe you play him on a few specialty positions on defense to let him come out there and be a corner. But personally, I don't want Travis Hunter. I don't think he does much for your franchise other than be a name because he was a Heisman winner. But I don't think he's, in terms of wide receiver, gun to your head right now, if you had to take one, and it's the draft all over again. Are you taking Jamar Chase or are you taking Travis Hunter?
Oh, Jamar Chase.
Justin Jefferson or Travis Hunter?
Yeah, Jefferson, of course.
Malik Neighbors, Travis Hunter.
Neighbors.
Yeah,
I don't even think that he's the best receiver in his class. I think the dude out of whatchamacallit who's that tall, lanky dude that has all those amazing
McMillan from Arizona.
Yeah, I think he's better than fucking Hunter is.
McMillan is. I agree, and that's again. Travis Hunter is just an athletic freak who's good at two positions, not great at any. He's what's the saying?
Jack of all trades,
Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, that's kind of like Travis Hunter. He's good, he's athletic, but he's not great at anything. Cornerback, same thing. If you're taking a cornerback in the top 5, they need to be like Denzel Ward, lockdown. That's not Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter went up against some very weak competition playing at Colorado. I don't think Travis Hunter is a lockdown cornerback. If he were, then yeah, sure, you talk top 5 draft pick, no questions asked.
Sure.
In my opinion, gun to my head, Cam Ward goes 1, number 2 pick. I'm taking Abdul Carter. There's no question about it. And I'm not even thinking twice. I'm running to the podium. I am putting Myles Garrett, who is now locked in for 4 years, and I'm putting him opposite Abdul Carter, who is going to be locked in on your team for at least 4 to 5 years on a rookie contract, and I am letting them eat. You then have Michael Hall at defensive tackle. You now have Malik Collins. You then can move Alex Wright over to defensive tackle, which is his natural position. You are loaded on your defensive line. So that's just me. I'm taking Abdul Carter no matter what. There's not one quarterback in this class that I love. But again, it's early. We'll see what the Browns do. Maybe, they add Joe Tryon.
No matter what.
Basically. For me, there's really not much that's going to change my mind. I want Abdul Carter. I don't love the quarterback prospects for the Browns in free agency. But again,
a lot of people now are starting to think the same way, too. A lot of people had the Browns taking a quarterback, but now they're shifting their mindset and saying we think it's Abdul Carter at number 2, no question. I think it's because of Myles signing a deal. Now they're like, fuck, go get Abdul Carter, and you have a fucking lockdown.
In my opinion, I feel like a lot of people were making the joke when they traded for, they traded for Kenny Pickett. A lot of people were making the joke of, the Browns sold Myles Garrett on Kenny Pickett. That's why he came back to Cleveland. I think it could be they sold him on Abdul Carter, and they said, watch this guy's tape. We think this guy is going to be the next Micah Parsons. You get to play with him. You get double and triple teamed. So either you're going to be fucking eaten, or they're going to have to worry about this guy, or they're going to worry about you and he's going to be eating. But look at how good your defense can be, because one of you guys have to be single coverage or single blocked. And I think that right there made him go, oh, fuck, you're going to put finally a guy opposite of me that's not Zadarius Smith at 30 years old. That's not Jadeveon Clowney at 30 plus years old. That's not Obo Okoronkwo. You're giving me a legitimate opposite bookend defensive end. Holy shit, that's going to make my life so much easier. If I'm Myles Garrett, I'm looking at that and I'm like, dude, I could get 25 sacks next year if you give me Abdul Carter.
Naturally on the left side of the line, and so opposite of Myles. That's where
perfect situation.
Absolutely, it makes sense.
And again, you drafted Michael Hall in the second round last year, who's a stud. When he played, he was really good. His injury at the end of the season was a lot less severe than anybody thought. He should be ready to go for the season. Again, they just signed Malik Collins. They still have Shelby Harris, I believe, under contract. They still have Alex Wright, who, again, they moved him to defensive end, but his natural position at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, I think he went to, UAB, he's a defensive tackle. And when he played a defensive tackle last year, he put up great fucking numbers because they realized, oh, that's your natural position. And then if you need these guys to come out and take a breath, you've now have Joe Tryon to put out there at defensive end. And then I'm sure we have other people I can't even think of off the top of my head.
Any update on JOK yet with the injury?
Not a word. I'm very concerned that his career might be over, and that's very, very sad because the other, obviously, it's not political, but everybody bashed the Guardian cap of how stupid they were, and people were like, "Look, didn't even help him. He got a neck injury. It had nothing to do with the helmet. Like that would have happened with the helmet, Guardian cap. Without it, it doesn't matter. It wasn't a concussion. It was literally a neck injury."
As of January 25, he's still working on his rehab, and there's very much uncertainty he'll ever play again.
Yeah, that's the fear.
Damn, that sucks, man. Well, he was such a good linebacker.
He was a staple for our defense. He was a guy who could get in and get those short gain stops. He was so good at maneuvering around a block. It was a crazy thing. He moved like water. That's the best way I could describe it. He could go like sideways and slither around and get untouched. I love JOK. I'm going to be really fucking depressed if he has to retire because of that injury. And I will forever hate Derrick Henry even more because it was his fault.
Yeah. Oh, well, what can you do?
Yeah, nothing you can't do. So a lot of moves happening in the NFL, as we talked about. I'm trying to think. I hope we didn't forget anything. I'm sure there were some other ones that I'm not getting or not remembering. I also haven't been on social media like at all today. So like the Malik Collins deal with the Browns, I'm not going to lie, I didn't even see it till like 2 hours ago because I wasn't on my phone at all at work. And then I finally logged on and I was like, oh, fuck, they signed a defensive tackle. I didn't even see it.
Let me see if there's any updates here with let me see. Who do you follow for all your updates for X or Twitter updates?
Mostly Field Yates. Only because it's not as exciting as it used to be. I used to follow like all these random accounts of these guys who had like insider information, but because it's all so widespread nowadays, you're pretty much getting it all at the same time. There's no like breaking news from like, oh shit, this guy has it a day earlier. There was that one Twitter account, Incarcerated Bob. He used to be really good. Like he would be days before the free agency started, and he'd be like, so-and-so's signing with this team. Like I have it confirmed. And then boom, 2 days later it would happen. But then I noticed he started kind of covering his ass to where he'd be like, I'm hearing so-and-so has it down to X, Y, and Z. And he'd list 3 teams. So then when one of them hits, he can go, I fucking told you guys. And it's like, I mean, I know 3 isn't like that much. Like out of 32 teams, 3 isn't a ton, but still like you're kind of hedging your bet now and you're covering your own ass. But yeah, nowadays, everything's pretty much everybody gets the same information at the same time. So I just follow Field Yates. And then I follow a lot of Browns fans. Like, so people will retweet if they see something from somebody else. Like if Brad Stainbrook tweets something, they'll be the first ones to fucking post it.
Yeah, there's not much on here that you haven't mentioned already. So I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like there's really nothing too crazy. I mentioned pretty much the main trades. I mentioned the biggest free agency signings. There was just a trade. We kind of talked about the Dallas Cowboys. They have acquired Kenneth Murray and a 7th-round pick from the Titans for a 6th-round pick, and they agreed to a deal with Kaiir Elam, the former 6th-round pick of the Buffalo Bills. Or they traded him. I'm sorry. They traded a 5th-round pick for Kaiir Elam and a 6th-round pick from the Bills.
Draymond Jones just signed a 1-year deal with the Titans. Okay,
Draymond Jones, interesting. Aaron Rodgers has been officially released. This was another thing talked about with, what's his face, with Dueling Aces the other night. They were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and they're like, oh yeah, he was already cut by the Jets. Technically, he wasn't, so that's official today. They're eating about $50 million in dead cap money because of that contract, but they're happy to be rid of him, I'm sure. DeMarcus Lawrence, who's like 45 years old, he signs a 1-year contract with the Seattle Seahawks for some reason to play defensive line. I don't understand that one. I made a $50 bet with my buddy Craig, who's a Seahawks fan. I said the Browns will have a better record than the Seahawks because I told him the Seahawks are fucking garbage, and he took that deal in a heartbeat. So we have a $50 bet going.
It could be a very close bet for you guys. We'll see how it works out. But
I told him to invest the $50 today, so this way by a year from now when we pay up, and then I thought better of it, and I said by then it might be worth about $350. So let's hold on to it. Don't invest that $50. But yeah, we have a bet. Better record gets $50 to the loser, and my uncle joined it too. He picked the Browns as well. So my buddy Craig basically has he's either giving us $100 or he's getting $100. So we'll see what happens next year. But I love making bets this far in advance because fuck it, why not?
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I'm not feeling the Seahawks this year. I really feel like they stink, and I don't understand their roster formation. Again, you trade Geno Smith, who's been a really good quarterback for them. He led the league in completion percentage last year. He took them to the playoffs a couple years ago. He rejuvenated his career, and they pay him back by sending him to the Vegas Raiders. And they then signed Sam Darnold, who's not a good quarterback, for 3 years, $100 million. I don't get it. And again, they trade DK Metcalf. They cut Tyler Lockett. They have nothing on offense at this point. I don't know. Interesting moves. They're in a full rebuild, though, with Mike McDonald. So I guess you have to kind of trust the process without having many talented players.
What was your opinion on the Pete Carroll going to Vegas?
Made no fucking sense to me. Horrible hire. No offense to Pete Carroll. He's been out of the game for a couple of years, for a year. He's old as hell. He's like 75, 80 years old. I just feel like the game kind of passed him by, and now he's not taking over a team that's win now ready. He's taking over a team that's going to be lucky to be fourth place in their own division, for fuck's sake. You have the Kansas City Chiefs, which good luck. You have the rising Denver Broncos, and you have the pretty much rising Chargers too, and now you have Pete Carroll with Geno Smith. You're telling me you have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
They have Max Crosby. What's that about? They just overpaid for him.
Yeah, exactly. That too. They had to pay him to stay in Las Vegas. They have Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh, and then you have Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Really good combos, and then you can laugh and go, it's like that meme with like the 4 dragons and the ones
and the one retarded one, yeah.
You have that, and it's like, oh, that's the Vegas Raiders, and that's the fucking Geno Smith. It just makes no sense to me, truthfully. I don't understand what they're doing. They're a team that realistically should have traded the fucking farm for the number 2 pick. If I were, this is just me, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but I sincerely would have done this if it were me. I would have traded up to 2. I would have sold whatever if the Browns were interested, and I would have gone up to 2 to get Shedeur Sanders, and I would have hired Deion Sanders to be my head coach if I'm the Vegas Raiders. Vegas, unfortunately, and I mean this in a nice way, they don't strike me as an organization that's actually interested in winning football games. They moved to Vegas because Vegas is a tourist destination. How many games do you watch on TV where the fan base is typically out-of-towners? Because the Vegas fans, there aren't Vegas fans. They were in Oakland. They used to be in fucking Los Angeles. The Raiders have moved so many times I can't even keep up with what town they're in. And they're now in Las Vegas, who they have no lifelong fans of Vegas or Raiders fans because they've only been there for a few years. So it's a tourist destination. There's no diehard fans. I don't think it's a serious team. They're there to be a fun thing to do. You go to Vegas for a weekend with your buddies. If you're in town during a game, you go, yeah, let's go check a game out. That'll be fun. So they have Geno Smith. They have Pete Carroll. They have fucking nothing else. They suck. They have Max Crosby, who's a good defensive end. That's it.
They got a really good tight end.
I forgot about, they do have, what the fuck's his name? I almost called him Mike Mayer. Michael Mayer's the other tight end, but whatever. You know who I'm talking about. The first pick last year. I can't remember his fucking name. Say again.
Brock Bowers. That's it. Couldn't remember his fucking name.
I forgot about him. But yeah, so you have Brock Bowers, you have Geno Smith, you have Pete Carroll, and you have Max Crosby. Good luck. I don't know. I don't see that competing with any of the other 3 teams in the AFC West, but more power to them. They're going for it. That's the new Tom Brady and Mark Davis led Las Vegas Raiders. Still don't understand how that's possible that the NBA is letting Tom Brady be an owner and work for Fox at the same time and get like inside information.
And he said he's going to work his deal out for the next 10 years.
Yeah. It to me makes no sense. I don't understand how they're allowing that, but the NFL will bend over backwards for Tom Brady. And I guess we're seeing it happening in real time. They will do fucking anything. They've covered up so many cheating accusations for that guy. It's absurd. So more power to him. I don't like Tom Brady. Excuse me. And I hope he gets, I hope he fucks something up by being an owner. I hope he like slips up and they catch him like stealing information from a team and he gets fucking blacklisted from the NFL. That would make me really happy if I'm being honest. I think that'd be funny.
Hater of Brady.
I am. I can't stand him. All right. Well, that's about it. Again, not a ton happening in free agency because this is a pretty weak free agent class, if I'm being honest. The trades were the most exciting part. And again, the Browns traded for Kenny Pickett and people are losing their fucking minds. I had to listen to 92. I'm sorry, not 92.3. I was listening to Rizzo today, 850.
Well, why do you always torture yourself, man? I don't get it.
Because it's just, I grew up with that show. I listened to them, 20 years ago. I got to keep listening. They spent most of the day talking about Joe Flacco. They spent most of their time on social media tweeting about Joe Flacco. The Joe Flacco obsession is crazy to me in Cleveland. I had a joke in my head that I was going to tweet, and then I was like, wait, the FBI will come after me. I was going to jokingly say, because again, I have nothing against Joe Flacco at all. I loved for what he did here, but I've moved on. But my joke was going to be, if Joe Flacco is flying to meet with a team and his plane happens to crash into Air Force One, I don't think I would have a Twitter feed anymore because I don't know what people would be talking about in Cleveland anymore. It's politics and Joe Flacco. That's it. So if Joe Flacco and Air Force One collided and that was the end of them, I don't think social media as I know it could exist because that's all I fucking see.
The Joe Flacco stuff was being reignited until like yesterday when I saw some people.
Well, the funny thing is there's no actual information. The Browns are pretty much, from what I've understood, have come out and said they're not even considering it. They're not even talking to him. It's not even they're not even thinking about it. But Browns fans won't let it go.
Thank you for your time here, Flacco. We appreciate the playoff run. We don't want you back.
Well, what I don't understand is with Browns fans is they hate Andrew Berry. So Andrew Berry went out and made a huge deal to get Deshaun Watson. It failed. They hate him for it. They hate Andrew Berry because he fucked up. Joe Flacco came in, won a bunch of games against some bad teams, and then when it got to a game that mattered against the Houston Texans in the playoffs, he pissed on his leg. He threw multiple interceptions. He fucked up hard, and Browns fans forget it, and they just go, you need Joe Flacco back in Cleveland. It's like, you don't remember how that ended? You guys really forgot his last game as a Cleveland Brown? And for the same fans that just constantly shit on the Browns and constantly just say, this organization sucks. They've never been able to draft talent. They've never been able to find talent. Nobody that comes here is any good, blah, blah, blah. All they want are the same people back. I've seen multiple people tweeting that the Browns need to sign Joe Flacco, they need to sign Amari Cooper, and they need to bring back Nick Chubb. And I'm not even kidding. It's not satire. They're dead serious. They say that the perfect free agency to finish it off right now would be to bring those three guys back.
I mean, we have a time machine. Are we going back 4 years, 3 years? Is that
they think so. They remember the good times, and they just think that's how it's always going to be, and it makes me furious.
Are we also going to go sign Albert Bell and Carlos Baerga and Charlie Nagy and
all these? Speaking of Albert Bell, a little off topic. We don't have a baseball slide ready, but that's okay. I'll just go to the Cleveland one because I have a funny thing for you. So many people are starting a campaign for Albert Bell to be named AL MVP for whatever 96, I think it was, because Mo Vaughn. Did you see the story?
No.
Mo Vaughn admitted to taking PEDs. So all Browns fans or Indians fans are coming out now and they're like, Albert Bell needs to be the fucking MVP. That's ridiculous. You gave it to Mo Vaughn when he didn't deserve it. Statistically, he did not deserve MVP over Albert Bell. And now he's admitted that he fucking cheated. Fans are pissed. They're like, Albert Bell deserves that fucking MVP. They need to go back and change that. They never will, but it's just funny that happened.
1995 is the year he finished second.
95. I knew it was 95 or 96, but yeah, Mo Vaughn came out and admitted that he used performance-enhancing drugs.
Oh my God! No, we need. Yeah, I'm all about it.
I thought that was funny as fuck. It's funny that you mentioned Albert Bell. All right. Well, now we'll get into The Cavs. I don't remember how to shrink the photos. There it is. Nope, I covered up Kyle. I fucked that up. I don't know how to make these smaller. Whatever. Where's George when you need him?
He's with his kid. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know how to make those any smaller, so that's what we're getting. It'll cover my name a little bit.
Balls in the middle of the court. It's perfectly fine.
2 huge balls over me. That's how it always goes. Cavs are on fire. They are on their second 15-game winning streak of the season. I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to get very worried. I'm worried about the heartbreak. The heartbreak that happens as you're a Cleveland fan where your team loses a playoff game. And I'm not saying I think the Browns are going to lose a playoff game. What I'm saying is right now, the way they're playing scares me. They are falling behind against pretty below average teams. They went down big against the Heat. They went down against the Hornets. They went down against the Nets last night. They're finding ways to come back. Yes, they went behind against the Boston Celtics a couple weeks ago and came back and won that game, but still scary. These are things you cannot do in the playoffs. Their defense, to me, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because they are technically the best team in basketball, if it's just bringing out the best of their opponents. But like last night, I watched that Nets game, and albeit they were without Donovan Mitchell, they were without DeAndre Hunter, they were without Ty Jerome. Brooklyn couldn't fucking miss. I'm watching that game, and I'm like, this guy shoots in, he shoots in, he shoots in. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? The Cavs couldn't buy a basket. And then they made a comeback and they win the game. However, this trend of starting off slowly, I'm wondering, are they bored or is this something we need to be concerned about? What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. I think it's
I'm concerned, Kyle. I'm going to admit. What's that? I am concerned.
No, okay, you're concerned. I'm not concerned. I think the Cavs are, they've won 15 straight. They know they're good, right? And I think what's happening is I think they're trying, I don't know, I just noticed that they're trying some things a little differently sometimes, like in the first and second quarter, to try to get other people involved in the game. Like you notice that like Garland, Mitchell, some of these guys just have such a slow start to the game, right? Because other people are getting the ball more. Like Mobley's shooting a lot more frequently early. Allen's going more early. You got Strus taking a lot more shots. You got Merrill coming off the bench taking more shots. Hunter's being really involved early when he's playing, right? I just think that they're here and there trying different things because you notice that Mitchell doesn't usually get warmed up until the second half, right? He maybe goes into halftime a lot with 5, 6, 7 points, and then it's like the third and fourth quarter, boom, boom, right? He's back up to 20-25. When it comes to clutch time, I think that's when they start playing, and I think playoffs time, it's gonna be all right. Now we know what we have to do. We know who our players are. We know the plan, and we're gonna go out there and just step on throats, but I'm not concerned.
I mean, that happened yesterday directly. I think Darius Garland went into the fourth quarter with 12 points. He had 18 fourth quarter points, and the Cavs ended the night with 30 points. But again, my concern is I think I just have PTSD from the second time they played the Oklahoma City Thunder. They went into that game. They had just beaten them the week before in Cleveland.
We were down to somebody, weren't we? I thought we were down a big. I thought Mobley or Allen was out.
I'd have to look. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. I just remember that we were getting fucking blown out. And same thing, could not miss a shot against us. We couldn't buy a basket. And then we played Boston. And then it all started coming back to me when we were down 25-3 or whatever the fuck it was. I'm watching it in the first quarter, and I'm like, are you kidding me? They just keep getting blown out. And at that point, Boston was missing Kristaps Porzingis. They were missing Drew Holiday. They were missing some big players. And we made a comeback. Yes, we won that game, but I'm still sitting there going, you can't fucking go down like this against these teams if they're full strength. You're done. You have no shot. I get it. It's a 7-game series in the playoffs, so one bad game is not going to kill you. However, I'm just nervous. They're consistently going down early. They consistently come out slow. They're not taking games seriously right now, it seems like, but they kind of are at the same time because they wait till the fourth quarter. But I feel like that's a scary fucking way to go about winning basketball. And I say that as they're on a 15-game winning streak, but I feel like I'm justified in being nervous because we're a month away from the playoffs.
As a Cleveland fan, your reasons for being nervous are justified and backed up by long histories of us just getting fucked. I get it. But this is such a different team right now. They have that killer instinct to switch it on when they want to switch it on. And I just don't think they switch it on often against teams they play down to. I think last night was a team you play down to. In the first 2 or 3 quarters, they played down to them, right? And they're like, okay, we're just trying things, having whatever. We're not playing tight defense. And then all of a sudden, they're like, fuck, all right, we need to switch it on. And what happened in the fourth quarter? They switched it on. They made that run, and they didn't let back. You know what I mean? The defense got better. The shots went down. They were taking better shots. The ball was moving a lot quicker. I don't know, man. In my opinion, I just think they know they can switch it on when they have to switch it on. And certain teams, they don't do it against the entire game.
My biggest fears, and
it means we're going to get swept in the first round, but whatever. It's
my biggest fears are that we're going to go, more than likely we're going into the postseason as the number 1 seed in the East, at least, if not the number 1 team in the entire NBA. Now, with that being said, you're the number 1 target for especially fans and haters that are going to come out and be like, oh, they fucking suck. They're going to get bounced in the playoffs. And even if you make it to
the third highest, their third highest behind OKC and Boston in favoritism to win the championship because no one believes in them. I don't understand what else the Cavs have to do.
Even their biggest fan, Brian Windhurst, who's been on the Cavs all year about how great they are and how much he loves them, he came on the other day and he's like, "Yeah, I think the Cavs still have a lot to prove, and I don't think they're getting shit on left and right." Somebody defended them today was Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony came out and said, he said the Cavs are the most. He's killing it. He's doing podcasts and shit now. He's more popular than ever. But he came out and defended the Cavs.
He like the Cam, what's his face from NFL? Oh my god, Cam played for the Panthers. Cam Newton. Is he the Cam Newton of the NBA, where he goes on weird podcasts and does weird podcasts all the time now?
He dresses better than Cam Newton. He doesn't dress like a 1980s or an 1800s grandma. But no, I guess he did an interview and they asked him, like, who do you think is like a team that could win it all? And he's like, I think the Cavs are like the most underrated team, and they're under value. Like, what did he say? I forgot. Basically under appreciated. Like, people don't really appreciate what they're watching with this team. They're just kind of going in going, they suck. They're going to get eliminated. But yeah, no, I have a worry because right now I feel like and rightfully so, because these guys are playing at a high level off your bench. But I feel like we're relying too much on our bench, to where you're starting 5. If any of them are having a bad night, you're just like, DeAndre Hunter or Ty Jerome are going to come in and fill in for you. But if those guys have bad nights, you're fucked based on what I've been watching from this Cavaliers team. Last night, for instance, luckily we were able to come back, but without Mitchell, without Ty Jerome, and without DeAndre Hunter, we went down big against the Brooklyn Nets. And the Nets, I thought they were going to blow us out, truthfully. I started watching the game. It was a blowout. We were down by almost 20 points at one point. I just started going on FanDuel, and I'm like, well, I didn't take the money line, so I can at least win my bets. I can still watch for stats. And the next thing you know, I'm watching, and I was actually playing Red Dead. I had the game going on my phone, and I'm playing Red Dead. I'm having a blast. I'm just running around. I'm killing people. I'm hiding bodies. I'm getting chased by cops for my bounty. I'm having a good time with it, though. But I'm listening to it, and all of a sudden they're just like, all right, Cavs are now down by 5. Cavs are down by 3. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, they're about to make this a game. But I don't know. I got that Cleveland fan in me. Even though I've seen a championship, I still have that back of my mind of like, I'm going to get my fucking heart broken, and I'm not ready for it.
I think Mobley is a younger version or potential Kevin Garnett of this generation. He
has hit some of the most clutch shots in big moments in these tight games lately. He's been draining threes when we need them.
With the range, he's Garnett with a 3-point shot. I think
he used to be reminding me of Ben Simmons, to where he'd get the ball at the 3-point line and he would be wide open and he would like pass it or he'd dribble in or something like that. He's now taking shots that are contested. He's fearless. That's so big for his development. I fucking love watching Evan Mobley get better because
down low game is his footwork down low is pretty amazing. Like
it's fantastic.
He's getting stronger and bullying people down, and he's got that fadeaway shot. He's got that up and under shot now. And then I love
himself into an all-around player. He can beat you from the inside, the outside. He can dribble past you. He can body you down if he has to. Defense is elite. I remember when we did the show that night that he got drafted, or like whatever, the week he got drafted, I was so happy. He was my favorite player coming out of that draft. And shame on the NBA for giving the MVP or the Rookie of the Year that year to Scotty Barnes, because it 100% deserved to go to Evan Mobley. And I think he should be rewarded this year with the Defensive Player of the Year award, especially with Wembanyama being down. So he better get it. But yeah, no, the development of Evan Mobley over the last few years has been fucking amazing. I love it.
He needs to continue to put more muscle on him. Just not overdo it, but maybe more muscle going into next year. Each year,
Yeah,
just build around that body because
he could turn himself into like a not as ripped, but he could turn himself into a Giannis Antetokounmpo type of player with like the size. Because Giannis was skinny as fuck when he came to the NBA, so he could definitely put on muscle and not let it affect his game.
Agree, absolutely.
So I'm excited again. You know, I'm very happy. I don't want to be heartbroken. I love this Cavs team.
I'm not overconfident. I'm a little nervous, but I'm a little less nervous than you.
I almost don't want the 1 seed because that puts so much pressure on you. Of like,
yeah, but who are we playing right now? If it started today, who we got? Who's the 8 seed?
They'd have to do the play-in. So it's 7, 8, 9, 10. They do the play-in, and that's how you figure out who the 8 seed is. So it's whoever 7, 8, 9, 10 would be.
So you got Hawks, Magic, or Heat.
Okay.
And Bulls. I mean, come on. I'm not worried about any of those.
No, I'm not worried about the first round at all. Honestly, my biggest concern is I'm kind of nervous to play Milwaukee in a 7-game series. I think Milwaukee full strength is pretty good, but I'm not overly concerned about them, to be honest. And then I'm obviously very worried about Boston. I think Boston is still the team to beat in the NBA. They are a championship team, proven from last year. They brought everybody back. They're very well coached. Their bench can go off at any night. I think fucking Peyton Pritchard the other night had to fill in and start because of injuries, and he had 40 points with he hit like 10 threes. And then you have fucking Luke Cornett, who's a nobody coming off the bench. He had like fucking 8 threes the other night.
I mean, Porzingis scares me no matter what.
Porzingis is a guy who, him and Mobley are very similar, but he's got more length on Mobley. And if he's hitting shots, you're kind of fucked. Like he can kill you from deep. Just an overall great team. Boston truly is a team that I'm afraid of. I need whoever faces Boston in the first and second round, assuming that it goes
the
Celtics in the Eastern Conference.
Shit out of them.
Beat the fuck out of them. I need them to play the Knicks for sure because the Knicks will body them around a little bit, and possibly the Bucks. If the Bucks and the Knicks can take on the Celtics, I am fucking happy about the Cavs' chances because they just need beat up a little bit. A couple six game series and some bruises and bumps I'd be very happy with. All right, that's going to get us to the end of the show here. Everybody's favorite time. It is time for Just the Tip. Let me hope that I do this right. I'm going to switch our pictures first. So let's go here and let's go here. First up is Kyle.
Boom. So my tip, I was going to use your tip, but I figured I'd be different. So we didn't have 2 tips touching at tip heads here. So
nothing wrong with it.
So I've been reading / listening to this book. So I read a chapter or 2. Then if I'm driving around, I'll pick up on the audio book, the next chapter to listen to while I'm driving. But it's called The People's History of the United States. It was written back in 1980 by Howard Zinn. And what makes this book interesting is I'm always a huge history buff. I like knowing history, world history, United States history. This book's written from the point of view of the people in history on the other side of the equation. And what I mean by that, it's the view of the Indians when Columbus came. It's the view from the slaves back in the 1600s when they were brought over on the ship. So it's stories and facts that took place. It's the view of the women during the World War when they were going to work. It's the view from it's just think of every big point in history and then look at the other side, right? It's the Irish view from the Irish back in the Depression days up in New York and stuff like that when they had a lot of gangs and stuff. It's a whole different aspect of looking at our American history through a different set of eyes. I will say it is a little, just to be political here for a second, it's a little biasy with certain things, and not everything in the book is like 100% accurate. Like I would read a chapter, then I'd go on like Wikipedia and go online and kind of research some of the stuff. And a lot of it does add up. And you're like, shit, like I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's crazy to hear about. But there's some things that were kind of blown up a little bit, like out of proportion to a point, right? And then some of the stuff it's like, yeah, we heard this happen, but there's no like sources to back it up. That was in this book. But for the most part, the book's pretty spot on. Like there's a lot of stuff that he does source in the book that can be researched and backed up. But it's I just like seeing both sides of the equation, as someone who
sure,
my political stance has always been what it is, but I still hear the other side sometimes. I take in consideration the other side. I'm more towards the middle on certain things than some other people are. And this is a good book. So I know you love to read, and I would recommend this book to you, but it's a big book. It's pretty big. I think it's 500 pages or so. So there's a lot there. But I don't know what you feel about history, but I think this is something you'd probably enjoy, just kind of seeing the other side of the equation. So my recommendation this week is this book for people who like history and kind of want to just step back a little bit. They do have this book. They give it out to college kids. It is a read for certain college courses. This is actually one of the famous books mentioned in what's the movie with Ben Affleck and
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. It's actually mentioned in that movie too. But it's a good book so far. I'm almost done with it, but I wanted to pass it on as a tip because I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far.
Absolutely. No, I do love to read. You actually got me looking something up really quick if I could find it. Yeah, there it is. The Power of the Dog. I listened to a book from an author I really like, Don Winslow, and you said it's a long book. Okay, yeah, this was 542 pages because I was like, I think the audiobook was about 26 hours or something like that. Yeah. I was curious. I couldn't remember how many pages that one was. But no, yeah, I love to read, so that's actually cool. I'm making a very big effort this year to try to read as many books as possible,
yeah,
and I'm making
784 pages. My bad.
784.
Yeah, it's a 38-hour audiobook.
That's about right. Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, each chapter is dedicated to a certain point in history, and it starts from way back.
Okay.
When the Indians were taken over by Columbus, and
so it's a timeline basically.
It moves throughout history. Correct. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, definitely. I'll check that out. Like I said, my goal is to read or listen to as many books as I can this year, and I am on pace to fucking smash previous years. So that's all I do now.
Awesome.
My tip for the week, though, is not a book. It's a movie that I watched. As I said earlier, I was watching every Oscar Best Picture nominated movie. That's what I do every year. But this one I really wanted to see. I like Jesse Eisenberg, and I like Kieran Culkin. It's called A Real Pain. It was a movie directed and written by Jesse Eisenberg and starring Jesse Eisenberg. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll check this out for sure. Kieran Culkin won Best Supporting Actor. It was nominated for that. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. Like I said, I like those guys. I'm sure it'll be good. I watched it, and when it ended, I truthfully was like, holy shit, it's early. I know when I watched it was still technically February maybe. But I was like, that's probably going to be my favorite movie of 2025 as of right now. I loved it. The fact that it wasn't a nominee for Best Picture is crazy to me, in my opinion. I watched Anora. I watched Emilia Perez. I watched. I've seen The Substance. I've seen pretty much again. I've seen almost all the fucking Oscar nominated movies. I watched The Brutalist. A Real Pain was better than all of them. No question about it. It was better than all of them. And it was such an easy to make movie for them. Like, it's not like there's not special effects. There's nothing crazy with it. It's literally just two cousins who are kind of estranged, meet back up after their grandma passes away, leaves them some money so they can tour Poland, so they can see their roots, so they can see where their family came from. They can see the destruction and the pain from the Holocaust and their family that were killed in the Holocaust. And there's funny moments. Kieran Culkin's character is a trip. One minute you like him, the next minute you're kind of like, he's annoying. Same with Jesse Eisenberg. You're like, oh, I kind of feel bad for him. And then you realize like these guys have some serious issues they need to work out. Overall, though, the acting was really good. It was well written. It felt real. It truly felt like they were two cousins. Like, it felt like the movie was supposed to. You felt like you were watching these cousins on this trip together that were kind of reconnecting, and you saw their lives of like, okay, he has kids. He's moved this way in life. He has moved this way in life. That's just what happens with cousins. Everyone knows that. You grow up close with your family, and the older you get, it's harder to stay together and to keep up with everybody. And this movie does such a fucking great job showing that in film. I really liked it. I thought it was excellent. The soundtrack was phenomenal. The music, I love that they played a lot of like Chopin. I fucking love Frederick Chopin. So I really liked all of it. I loved everything about the movie. So check it out for sure. A Real Pain. I think you can watch it on Hulu if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But fantastic movie. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, I will say that is probably one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long time. And I've been watching a lot of movies, just traveling a lot now. But I will say that scene when they're going through the concentration camp felt so fucking real. Like how it was shot, like the dead silence when they were going in and out of certain aspects, and like their reactions, like when they walked by the furnace, like their facial reactions, the acting. I mean, I'll be honest, man. Me and Jess both were like, Jesus, this is such a. You feel it. You feel that
100%. It feels at times like you're watching a documentary.
Yes, I said that when we were watching. Like that scene alone felt like we were watching a documentary of people just touring the
Yeah.
concentration
You
camps.
don't think you're watching a movie. You honestly think you're watching these two people traveling and it's being filmed. Like
Yeah.
when they're on the train and they're sneaking around from the different cabins, like you're watching that and you're kind of like, oh shit, are they going to get caught? And I'm watching it and I'm forgetting like it's a movie. Like it doesn't matter if they get caught. Like who cares? Like it's not real. But there's a part of you that's like, oh shit, here comes the fucking ticket taker. Like, I don't know. It felt like you were watching a documentary. It was so well done. I really liked it.
And the fact that this was written and directed by Eisenberg, wasn't it?
Yeah. He did the whole thing.
And you saw the story, the cool story about how he's probably told it a million times about how Culkin almost didn't take the movie, right? He almost didn't take the movie. He had to be flown there by Olivia. Was it Olivia Wilde or Olivia someone flown there?
Yeah, I think it was Olivia Wilde.
And so then and they didn't practice anything together. He doesn't talk to him and tell him he's read the script or anything. And he shows up day one like fully prepared to go right into character. And he's like, It blew my mind. Like to me, that speaks volumes of who Carrie and Culkin is. And I can't wait to see more of his movies. I think he'd be great in an actual full-blown comedy movie because he's just so fucking off the wall. But yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah, this whole movie, it was perfect casting. I couldn't imagine it with anybody else. They did such a good job. I honestly, that's one that I would, once it starts, if it's ever on TV or something like that, it's one I'll throw on all the time. Like it was just that good of a movie.
For sure.
All right, everybody, that is going to do it for talking about balls. We are going to be back in 2 weeks again, even if I don't know how to do these slides. None of these make sense to me. They're both so big. I don't know how to make them smaller nope, that didn't do it. Okay, whatever. I give up. I'll talk to George next time about how I make these fucking balls smaller because I have no idea. But
I would like it if they started like glowing blue around them as you move them.
Yeah, he can sometimes he shrinks our balls sometimes, and I don't know how to do that. So I'll have to ask him. Or hopefully he's never gone again, and I don't have to do this. I had a good time doing it, but it is a lot more work when I'm looking at the slides, and I'd rather just fucking flow. But whatever, I don't mind. George is doing it for his kid, and I totally respect that. So we will be back in 2 weeks. Again, next week, more free agent shit. Maybe the Browns do have a different quarterback, but I don't think it's going to be big enough to do an episode again because I have my audit on Thursday. I don't feel like doing a show Wednesday night. Truthfully, I want to just unwind. So if anything, if the Browns do get a new quarterback, let's say Sunday night, Monday night, whatever, maybe I'll do a TikTok or I'll do a quick little Facebook Live or something like that, but I'm not going to do an episode. We will be back in 2 weeks, and we will talk to you guys then. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Cleveland, that was for you. See you later, everybody.